Okay, awesome. So this masterclass is specifically for people who are newbies, people who are in the research and planning stage, or you're thinking about it. Maybe you're not ready to pull the trigger just yet. Maybe you've launched already and into this wonderful world tooling lifestyle, but maybe you have still lots of questions because it's not super easy to just launch and think that it's going to be a piece of cake. So let me know again where you are on this path. Let me know if anyone's recently launched. I'm curious about that. Or maybe you're an experienced world schooler and you're just watching this for fun, or you're a part-time world schooler. So if you are, help me answer some of the questions that we get in the chat. Oh, you wise ones. Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm super excited to have you here. Thanks for joining me for my masterclass on how to become a world schooling and trailblazing family. My name again is Liz Quain. I'm so honored that you guys chose to spend a bit of time with me today and to learn more about this amazing lifestyle. So again, I do have this presentation to share. I'll be answering questions throughout the talk, so please ask your questions. Again, it's about 2+ hours. Sorry, I got a little cold coming. So I can't get into everything, but I have a solution for that that I'll talk about a little bit later. So I did put this together to help people launch, or at least think about launching. There's a lot that goes into launching into a world schooling lifestyle, and hopefully this masterclass will give you some introductory information about it and some good tips and help you figure out if this is even a good lifestyle for you and your family, if you can figure out how to do it. So I'm really excited to have you guys here to share this info. My kids and I, we've been doing it for about 7 years, off and on, mostly on. And I really love nothing more. Seriously, my mission is to help others launch into this amazing lifestyle, because then we have more families to hang out with in this amazing world of ours. So I wanted to point out this picture of my twin girls in Ubud, Bali, when they were 7.5. It was just after we launched and started traveling and world schooling, 7.5 years ago, I guess. So we went on this little trek called the Kampuhan Ridge Walk. I actually had another picture of another family in the same space in my earlier masterclass presentation. And this place is one of the reasons that I was inspired to name my new program Trailblazing Families. I had this image of a family walking on this exact spot. And so a few months ago, I was going through some old photos and I found this one of my girls on this exact ridge walk in Bali that I took the picture. So I had to change all my marketing materials to show my girls instead of that random other family. And I have it on as my virtual background. When I have Zoom meetings, you can kind of see, oh, maybe this is a different one. Anyway, so this image, this place means a lot to me. So I hope you all get to go there someday. It's really inspirational, at least to me. Okay, so let me give you a quick background about who is this crazy lady trying to help you how to launch into world schooling. So yes, I am a world schooling parent, and luckily there are more and more of us nowadays. Thanks to the internet, many of us can work anywhere in the world. I'm a digital nomad. Have you guys heard of that phrase? I'm also an entrepreneur, and I'm now a world schooling coach. So I have a course on how to travel as a family and how to world school. I've also given a number of talks in person or online on podcasts and videos on this subject. So it's become a really big passion of mine, and I'm really glad that others are seeking me out as an expert in this topic, because this is my favorite thing to talk about. As I mentioned before, I'm from the Seattle area. I've lived in many different cities in the US and lived in New York, San Francisco, LA, and other places. I was actually born in Seoul, Korea. My mom's Korean, my dad's American, Irish German. I'm really big into family genealogy, and I've been to all those places and met relatives. So I'm really interested in cultures around the world, maybe because of my upbringing, growing up in Korea. I guess I'm sort of a third culture kid. Have you heard that phrase? But kind of half, because my mom's Korean and I grew up in her culture. So I guess I'm a half third culture kid. The math is really funny on that. But then again, my brother and sister, they have no interest in traveling or other cultures, so maybe it's just me. So pre-kids, I traveled a lot. I traveled to nearly 50 countries throughout 6 continents. I backpacked around the world as a young woman. Then another time I lived in Spain for a year. I've lived in several other countries for shorter term. And I often tried to take international vacations, prior to having kids when I was working. I traveled also a lot in the US as well. And now I'm a happy solo parent to 14-year-old fraternal twin girls, Aubrey and Gabby. You will see their photos a lot in this presentation. But I really feel like if I can do this as a solo parent of two, so can many of you. So yes, most Worldschool parents that I've met are married parents traveling together with their kids. But I do know lots of single parents who live this lifestyle, and also interestingly, happily married couples where sometimes the mom or the dad, usually it's the mom, that will take the kids traveling solo for a bit as the spouse has to work and can't leave for very long, and they'll come visit during the trip. So it is possible for many people. I don't think you have to have this big team to go with you physically. I can be your team virtually. And I don't feel like you have to be super experienced, worldly, well-traveled to do this with your kids. So many different people of different backgrounds and experience levels are launching into this lifestyle, especially now with my help. So my background professionally, I have worked in sales and marketing for many years, mostly in the magazine business. This is why I lived in the big cities like San Francisco, New York. I'm an entrepreneur and an alternative education advocate, especially since I had kids 14 and a half years ago. I launched and ran, and then I later sold a large, almost 800 square meter. It's about 8,600 square feet indoor children's play cafe. So there was a cafe, a big play area. There's a giant imaginative play area. I had 3 birthday party rooms, one of which was a dance studio. And we had ballet classes during the week and birthday parties, girly birthday parties on the weekends. And then, of course, we had the other birthday parties. And then during the week, we had the stay-at-home moms and dads and nannies and grandparents. They would come. And I also had a preschool on top of that. So it was a really insane business. I don't recommend it. It was so hard. And it wasn't that profitable. And I was working 100 hours a week. It was insane, 7 days a week. But it was a lot of fun for my kids. So I sold the business in 2016, thankfully, because I know people who launch this type of business and they have a hard time selling it later. So while I was trying to sell the business, which took a while, I had heard about the whole digital nomad and worldschooling concept. And I just threw myself into researching how to live this lifestyle and how to fund it. So I guess it was about 2014 or definitely 2015 when I was researching it. Okay, so and also school wasn't really working out for at least one of my kids, Aubrey, who has ADHD. She was just used to exploring in my play cafe and the preschool and learning through play and imagination and creating. And then all of a sudden she had to sit still in kindergarten and sit in a circle and, stop going around and touching everything. And she had to obey and listen to the teacher. It was really hard for her and her little ADHD body as a 5-year-old to do that. So I did get called in a couple of times to meet with 10 different staff members, of the school, the teachers, the principal, the psychologist, all of that, to talk about what to do about Aubrey and get her to sit still and conform and stop being so curious and obey the teacher. Okay, so it was quite tough. So after they finished first grade, that's when I pulled them out of the school system, and that's when I sold my business. We left August of 2016. And I just wanted to take a year off just to travel and have a break, because we really didn't have a lot of vacations prior to that, because I was working so much on my business, even on the weekend. So we decided to try it for a year, and well, it's been 7 years. Okay, let me just check to see how everyone is doing. Kara, you're making some nice comments here. ADHD, yes, I'm going to mention a neurodiverse homeschooling summit. I am going to mention that in a bit, so you guys can watch that as well. All right, so so I'm now a digital nomad. Let me know in the comments if you're already a digital nomad. So I've been doing this over 7 years. I did also work remotely in a previous job. So I've done remotely during our travels, some sales and marketing consulting. I launched a few products on Amazon, which was a disaster. Amazon is great to shop on, but not to sell on. For, some people it's great, but for me, I don't have the personality to email back and forth with a robot when there's problems, and I could never get a real person to help me. I did teach English online to Chinese kids part-time for a while, just for fun, extra income. Unfortunately, those opportunities aren't happening so much. The Chinese government has changed a lot of things, and they don't want us North Americans to be teaching their kids. Okay, so, but it was really fun to teach online, except for waking up in the middle of the night to teach. And then I did help and launch and run an online global school for 3 years. So that I left about 1.5 years ago. And then I took some time just to travel with my kids in Worldschool and think about my next move. I was thinking about becoming a digital nomad career coach for parents, especially. I did give a presentation at a Worldschool Summit on 200 plus income ideas to fund family travel and Worldschooling. So you guys probably know the 3 main questions are, number 1, how to fund this lifestyle. Number 2, how to travel with kids, like all the logistics, the planning, the lifestyle. And then 3, how to educate the kids. So those are kind of the main 3 questions for this Worldschooling digital nomad family lifestyle. So I am tackling the last 2. The first one, again, other than my big list of 200 income ideas that I provide when you join my Facebook group, and if you missed it, here's my website, trailblazingfamilies.com, and obviously the masterclass is happening, but you can click on this button and you can get the list of 200 plus income ideas. And then I have this all set up now through this program that another Worldschool mom is running. And so as soon as you put in your name, email, and blah, 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 you will get it immediately. In the past, people would have to chase me down on Facebook to send it to them. And maybe a week later, I would send it. So it's all automated now, thank goodness. So grab that resource if you haven't already. Take a look. I do try to guide people in the right direction, but other than the big list of income ideas, I just don't have the bandwidth to go beyond just sharing the list. It did take me a long time to research and put together that list before I had that presentation for the Worldschool Summit. So please don't share it without crediting me or Trailblazing Families. I did have a blogger take half of my list and post it as her work. And when I kind of reached out to her, she blocked me on social media. Not cool to steal other people's work. It's copyright infringement. And, other Worldschoolers do eventually tell me. So the Worldschool world is small. So pretty please don't copy other people's work and pass it off as your own. So I don't coach people how to launch an online business or find a remote job, but I do provide some resources and point people in the right direction. So I have recently been asking in my network of other digital nomads that I know. I'm trying to figure out the best digital nomad career coach to refer you all to, the ones who are interested. I've gotten a handful of names. I will pursue this further if there is interest, so let me know. There aren't that many of them that are generalist. Most of them have a specific job or a field or a course on offer. But I feel like due to all the big variety of everyone's background, all of your experience, I think what we need first is have somebody to help you take your previous experience, skills, figure out what transferable skills you have, what your passions and interests are, to either work online, which is obviously a really awesome thing to do, or maybe to move from place to place. And perhaps you might want to launch a Worldschool hub. And I wanted to share with you guys that, look at, I don't know if you've seen this, but I posted in the group that I'm collaborating with 6 leading Worldschool hub founders on a course on this spring. Now we've been really busy running, they've been busy running their Worldschool hubs, and I've been busy with this. But we are trying to band together. I came up with the idea last summer, and I reached out to some of them that I'm friends with. And initially one was saying, well, why should I teach other people to launch a Worldschool hub that's going to compete with me? Right? And I was like, listen, the Worldschool pie is getting larger. So it's not like you're getting a smaller piece of the pie. You still will have lots of people come to your hub because it's awesome, but let's teach others how to do it, because a lot of these hub organizers don't run their hubs year round. So they like to go to other hubs too, right? So anyway, let me know if you're interested in this and I could put you on a wait list. We haven't even come up with any sign up page yet. I'm working on it. We've been trying to coordinate this, but again, everyone's really busy. We finally, after weeks of discussion, decided to call us Worldschool Hub Academy. So let me know if you like that name. Anyway, so it's going to be awesome. I'll talk about it a little bit more in a second. So anyway, it would be great to get a Worldschool, I guess, digital nomad career coach to help you make a decision, what type of digital nomad career or business that you should pursue, and then point you in the right direction of how to start doing that new job or business. Maybe there's a course that you'll need to take, or maybe you'll have to get certified in something. So Anyway, but most of the ones that I've heard of don't have kids, so I don't know if that's important to you. Some of these younger digital nomads without kids, they may not get our unique challenges of living this lifestyle with kids. So I think it'd be nice to refer you to someone who gets it and that can relate to us, don't you think? Let me know if that's important to you, because there's plenty of online business, bros who hustle and grind and have online courses and drive Lamborghinis, and I can refer you to them if you want, but let me know what's important to you. So I will do a little bit more research about who is the best person to refer you to if that's of interest. Just please post in the comment digital nomad coach if you're interested. Okay. Anyway, so I figured since there are more and more people post-pandemic who are working remotely, I decided to first tackle helping people launch into this lifestyle as a family, the planning, logistics of traveling with kids, and the lifestyle. I mean, this is, again, not a vacation, it's a lifestyle. And also the education bit, because that's a big passion of mine. I've worked in alternative education. So the travel bit and education bit is my focus, and that's what I have the most knowledge and experience in. But I am still interested in the digital nomad scene. I plan to live this lifestyle for years to come, even after my kids have flown the coop. I gave a talk at the Bansko Nomad Fest in Bulgaria. They had about 700 people in attendance, not in my thing. I think I had about 90 people show up. But it is, I think, the biggest digital nomad conference, or one of them, going on right now. So my talk was to try to encourage younger single digital nomads who don't have kids that, yes, you still can be a digital nomad with kids. So it was well attended. I had a number of people asking me lots of questions in the hallway for about a half an hour after my talk. Some were single and not yet partnered, some were couples, and some did have young kids, and they still, were curious about how to live the lifestyle and the education bit. So I also met a group of Israeli families several days later in Bansko. Someone had organized a small summit for their group, but I wasn't able to stay for it because I had to leave town. So they organized a little get together for me at a co-working space so I can give them a little chat about Worldschooling. And thank goodness that these Israeli parents are able to work remotely. I got an email from another Israeli parent, this dad, the other day, who, feels stuck in Israel with the war situation. And I asked, are you able to work remotely? Can you learn the skills to someday work remotely? Can you start an online business or become an online freelancer? Because I just think that it would give all of us, our families, more options for your location. So you would be able to flee, at least temporarily, a war zone. And I have met Ukrainians and Russians who are able to do this and leave their countries due to their conflict. They're living in other countries and working online, and they're still able to earn online and survive. So whether it's due to war, violence, climate issues, economic problems, or whatever calamities might befall us in the future, I think it's a good idea for us as parents, and if we're not able to do so, to encourage our kids to do so, to become digital nomads, or at least have that option, if they choose that, obviously. All right, let me just check to see if there's any questions here. Okay, so Kara, being a solo mom definitely has unique challenges. Yes. Oh, you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. That's awesome. Awesome. Oana says digital nomad coach for mixing corporate life with travel. Yes. Yes, Gonçalo Hall. I do know him. I've met him he was in Bansko. He has a baby. Does he help overall? Because he runs a nomad summit. Oh, Tracy would be interested in a single moms hub. Actually, I have a friend who does that. Tracy, let me reach out to you. She has retreats once in a while. Dagmarita knows him in Bansko. Okay, I think you're talking about the Israeli family. Digital nomad coach has kid, very interested. Sade, yes, I know you're very interested in this. And the hub stuff. I feel that normal nomads don't get me because I have very different needs as a single mom. Exactly. Because they're still into the party thing, and they're grinding, and they have no ideas about nap schedules and feeding our kids. And seriously, they just don't get it. They have much more freedom and liberty, and whatever, all different ages. I've met digital nomads who are in their young 20s and in their 60s and beyond. Okay, so you guys are chatting about where you are located. Amber has a digital business already. Finding affordable travels and structuring education would be my main questions. Yes, I can definitely help you with that. Stephanie says, I work part-time remotely after being laid off from full-time remote position. Okay, some of these are long. I'm going to come back to them later and I will try to type in them, or maybe at the end of this, we can get back to all of these questions. So awesome. Anyway, so I will, again, check for the questions later. So far, my kids and I, we've traveled and lived in 20 different countries outside the US and counting. Some of them we repeat. We're not the type of family who tries to go to every single country on earth. I have a big interview series. I've interviewed people who do that, families included. So we are typically slow travelers. I do have a post. I don't blog, but I do, here we go. So I have this post on my personal Facebook profile. Send me a friend request if you're interested in seeing these kind of posts. I do sometimes share them in the Facebook group. Anyway, so I have this post about why we prefer to slow travel versus fast travel. So I will share this in, I'll share a bunch of these links that I'm showing in the chat later. So come back to this talk and oops, I lost everything. Okay. So we tend to be slow travelers. I mean, sometimes we mix it up and we try to fast travel too. Okay, so, I've been studying Worldschooling, family travel, and the digital nomad lifestyle for well over 7 years, maybe 8, 9 years. Anyway, because it took me a couple of years to even launch. And this is why I put together my program. So you don't have to spend 2 years like I did researching and all that. So yeah, I'm involved in the digital nomad world as well as the Worldschool world. My kids have learned in many different ways. They've attended local schools in Peru and Mexico. They attended the online school that I helped launch and run for 3 years. We have visited a bunch of Worldschool hubs, organized ones and casual ones. And in my program, I talk about the difference and I talk about pros and cons of everything. And I share a big list of Worldschool hubs. And that is a difficult list to keep updated. I have to do it regularly because they come and go. This is why we're launching a course, because some people launch a hub and they don't anticipate the challenges. I've also hired, Spanish-speaking nannies to help my girls and also speak Spanish to them. I've had tutors for my girls, different types of tutors, Spanish, and they just finished up on this awesome online marine science class with Cicero Learning. If you dig in the group, in the guide section, you'll find the interview I did with the founders of Cicero. And if you mention Trailblazing Families, you will get a discount. I forget how much. And we also practice self-directed learning, AKA unschooling. So we've done a bunch of stuff. I haven't been a super hands-on homeschooling mom to my kids because I'm so busy working. But I have outsourced it, right? So anyway, over the years, we have, we've been Worldschooling. I've learned so much about how to travel. Obviously, before I had kids, I traveled to nearly 50 countries. But then I had to learn how to travel with kids, a little different. And, as a family, we've been learning about different cultures and exploring the world. It's a huge passion of mine, and now, luckily, an interest of my kids. So I'm really passionate about, whoopsie, let me change the, whoopsie, not easy to change the slide. Okay, so I'm passionate about different ways for kids to learn. As I mentioned, I had a play cafe. The upper right corner is one of the pictures of my play cafe. It was kind of big. It's hard to get one picture that showed it all. So I had a play-based preschool where the students were aged 2.5 to 5. They learn through imaginative play, exploration, and socializing. I'm a big fan of Peter Gray, who's a big fan of learning through play and self-directed learning. And then I co-hosted a homeschooling global summit. And again, all the online learning stuff that I was involved in. So I've been involved in this for a while. And, all these experiences, they've been really great. And they've helped me realize that there are many better ways for kids to learn outside the walls of a traditional classroom. And I'm sorry, I am happy to debate with anyone here who thinks that the traditional school system is going great, because for me, I feel like it's really antiquated. It's not preparing our kids for the future. It's not giving them 21st century skills, not preparing them for the global future, which is another reason why I think it's a good idea for kids to travel and Worldschool. The world can be their classroom. There's so much to learn nowadays, online or in person, via local schools around the world. I have a big list of them in my course. It's a super way for kids to learn a new language. And I do hear sometimes people say, oh, I want to wait until my kids are older so they remember things. And I don't think that is the right idea, because when your kids are young, that is the best time for them to learn a new language. When their brains are like sponges, it's the best time in their whole lives to learn a second, maybe third, maybe fourth language. And again, it's not so much about what they'll remember. You know, I mean, all these travel and world schooling experiences, are they going to remember everything? That's not the point. The point is it becomes part of who they become, right? Part of who they are as a human being. And I mean, you read books to babies and toddlers, right? Not because you want them to remember every word and picture on the page, but to expose them to the words and pictures. So it's helping them. And world schooling is the same thing, exposing them to other people, cultures, language, food, etc. It's all a good thing. We're not talking about a Disney vacation here. We're talking about world schooling and immersing into other cultures and becoming global citizens, not tourists. And they can do this from birth. I have world school friends who have given birth like in 3 different countries, and some of their kids have extra passports, you know? And so you don't have to wait until they're a certain age. I mean, their toddlers are a little tricky, especially if you have a runner like I did. So I would definitely like hunker down somewhere for a while and slow travel and find a place that's baby proofed and stay away from swimming pools, all of that. And also your kids can learn, you know, at local schools around the world. There are daycares and preschools and world school hubs through tutors, etc. There's so many different ways for kids to learn. So I have met literally hundreds in real life, other world schooling families, either at, you know, the hubs, like the photo in the upper right corner is a hub that I attended in Bansko, Bulgaria for 2 years in a row. It's a winter ski hub. It's awesome. My friend Emmy runs it, and she might have a little space this winter. It's going into the spring, I think maybe until April. I'm not sure, but it runs for a few months. So if you're interested, reach out and I'll introduce you to her. And she might be still giving a 10% discount if you mention Trailblazing Families. And then the picture in the bottom right is a World School pop-up in Florence, Italy that we went to last spring. And a few of the families there we had met previously in other countries, or we were Facebook friends for a while and we finally met in person. Or we just meet other families, you know, family to family. So I have learned so much from all of these families about how they all live their lives, how their kids learn, because I'm always asking them. I'm very curious about that. What do your kids do for learning? What are they doing? Are they in an online school? What apps do they use? What, you know, all that stuff. This is a big conversation, of conversation. Plus, I also ask, you know, how do you fund this lifestyle? Because I love talking about the whole digital nomad thing. So I do share my story here and in my course, but, you know, and how my kids have been learning. But it's not just about the way we do things, it's the way many different people do it. All the people that we've met, hopefully, if you haven't seen it, I do have the top 6 ways to world school. Yeah, here. Top 6 ways your kids can learn to have a fabulous education. So ask for this, just click there if you haven't already. And it's like an hour video that just kind of talks about the top 6 ways. And I don't go super into detail because obviously my course goes super into detail. Anyway, so go visit my website if you want to get it, if you haven't already. And again, I will add the links to all of this to the chat later. So try to come back to this chat later today. And then part of the Trailblazing program is I interview many other world schooling parents. I have an interview series, I think over 60 of them, and they are here in the guide section. Maybe I should just go to my group first. So up here, you click on guides, okay? And then I have 3 guides because I have like 3 seasons. I've done 3 cohorts. So you can just scroll through them and look at them. It takes a little while to populate. But I also wanted to show you, I put everything on a directory. So I have, you know, all these different topics: travel, extreme travelers, traveling with RV, boat, etc., travel insurance, taxes, all this travel stuff. House sitting, traveling with pets, traveling with special needs, single parents, finding, creating community, working as a digital nomad, expat transition. And then I get into the education stuff: homeschooling while world schooling, online schools, online tutors. These are companies I've interviewed, often the founder or the spokesperson. Online tutors, hiring care, in-person local schools around the world, world schooling hubs, unschooling while world schooling, you know, umbrella schools, the future of world schoolers. Okay, So, and grown world schoolers. I have interviewed a few panels of grown world schoolers who are, 19, 20 something and up. So I will share this to you. I will share this publicly to you guys in the chat later. So I just had it here, but so the participants of my course were, there's so many interviews. And so I put in a directory to make it a little bit easier to find what you're looking for. Okay, so hopefully that is helpful. And again, I don't want to just tell you how we do it. I want to explain all the different ways to do it. I really like talking about the pros and cons of each way, because for each kid, it could be different, and we're all different learners. There are different ways for us to learn. We have different interests and learning styles. One way for one kid might not be the right way for another kid. So I do see blogs out there, or books, or homeschooling or unschooling experts posting, or posts from parents who have been world schooling for many years. And they often say, this is the way I do it, and therefore you should do it our way. Well, maybe, but I would rather show you this whole buffet of different ways to learn and world school, and then have you guys decide for each individual child of yours what works for them. As every child, again, is different, and what might work for one of your kids might not work for their sibling. So this is how I handle it. I don't really push my way. I research and I interview and I find all the different ways, and then I share it with you all. And we often talk about pros and cons. So hopefully that will help you make a decision of how to educate your kids. So obviously this is a big passion of mine. This is why I launched Trailblazing Families. The Japanese have this word called ikigai, which is, your purpose in life. Find something that you're passionate about, so find something you're good at, find something that the world needs, and find something that people will pay you for. So you got to find that sweet spot. So this is what I'm doing. I'm really passionate about travel and education, especially, those two things. Obviously the digital nomad stuff. I hope to help you guys more with it in the future. Again, let me know if you're interested in that. But we do have this Facebook group now, wonderful Facebook group. It's got, I think, 6,400 members. It's grown so much in the past several months. I think it was only about 4,000 members last September. So please invite your friends to this group. If they have kids, sometimes people ask to join, they don't look like they have kids. I can tell as an admin when you request to join what other Facebook groups you're a member of. Not all of them, but it'll show me like ones we have in common. Obviously, if you are already a member of Worldschooling, homeschooling, unschooling, those kind of groups, I let you in. But sometimes I get digital nomads without kids who want to join my group, because I do have the words digital nomad. And if I let them in, they'll start posting about stuff that's not relatable to the rest of us. So I'm trying to curate who's in our group, if that makes sense. Anyway, so your friends can join this group. They can watch this replay later. Eventually, I will get this video up on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel. I'm not really active on it, but I will try to grow it in the future. And then I do have this super comprehensive and well-liked 12-week course on Worldschooling that I run 3 times a year. I had my beta back in January, about a year ago. So it went super well. I've done 3 of them so far, and I'm gearing up for my 4th one. And many of my previous participants, they posted on social media about how they're loving it, my course, and how much it helped them. And actually this Thursday, I'm super excited. I have 4 Worldschool parents. We got Charlotte, who already launched before taking my course. She was winging it and overwhelmed. And so she took my course to figure out how to do it in a nicer way. And then Tiffany and Jeff and William and Sonia. So they were my guinea pigs, and they took my first course a year ago, and they've launched and they're doing great, and their kids are thriving. So they are going to come to do a live stream with me on Thursday Pacific, 11 a.m. No, 7 a.m. Pacific, because Jeff is in Vietnam. We're on 5 continents. It was so hard to organize this. So go to the events section of my Facebook group and then RSVP, so you don't forget. Okay, so yeah, so we're gearing up for the 4th cohort, and it starts January 29th. I'll mention a little bit more about that. I've been doing the interview series with experienced world schoolers and service providers. Again, check it out in my Facebook group's guide section. You can binge watch, forget about Netflix or all the other things, just binge watch it. You can learn a ton about world schooling and get inspired by these other families and learn from these service providers, like the travel insurance companies and financial, tax, and World School hubs, all that kind of stuff. So I am planning to turn these videos into a podcast soon. So type podcast if you'd like me to do that. I'm busy doing lots of other things, but I am hoping to do that within the next few months. So hopefully then you can listen to these while you're on the go, out and about. I also do one-on-one coaching for specific needs. Sometimes people who've been world schooling for a while, they reach out to me because they have a specific issue or need or problem that they want to talk to somebody who's maybe a little bit more in the know than they might be. So I've been doing that, and then I do plan to launch a VIP group, which we'll talk about in a bit. So anyway, that's basically me in a nutshell. I guess nearly 8 years ago, I just got tired of the rat race, so maybe you are in the same situation. So type in sick of the rat race if you can relate. I just got burned out from running an intense children's business. I mean, seriously, it was 100 hours a week, then 80 hours a week. No, 90, then 80. I mean, I work no less than 70 hours a week. So maybe you have an intense corporate job, maybe you have a crazy commute, maybe you have something stressful going on with your lifestyle. So I just decided to sell it. I pulled my twins out of the traditional school system and we started world schooling, and it's been an amazing experience. We have learned so much about the world, about, different cultures. We've eaten different delicious food, and some of it we've even learned to cook. I love doing that. I love finding cooking classes with where I can take my kids. We've had so many adventures out in nature or in big cities or small towns. Obviously, we visited many historical sites and archaeological sites. We've learned some Spanish. My Spanish is about intermediate. I started before I had kids. And then one of my girls, she's getting really good. And she's also learning German now. And then the other one is learning Korean. So it's kind of funny. And most of all, we have met so many interesting people, locals, as well as other world schoolers and digital nomads and expats. So we have friends all over the world. And I just feel like our bubble has gotten so much bigger. And, we all live in a bubble, right? And, some people have a small bubble. Maybe they live in a small town their whole lives. They never leave. And some are totally fine with that. But others, maybe you're one of them, you might want to expand your bubble a little bit more and explore your country or other countries or the whole world. So, which is awesome. So if that's you, you have come to the right place. But yeah, so it is truly my mission to help parents, hopefully like you, to learn how to confidently travel and world school your children so you can live your lives, of your dreams as thriving global citizens. So I do think that the world is getting smaller thanks to the internet. There's so much we can do for work or learning or finding community, and world schooling is so fantastic. So I want to help more people make this happen. Okay, so let's get into the masterclass a bit more deeper, but let me just check to see if there are. Yeah, Dagmara says she's burned out from being a freelancer, paid quite a low amount per hour. I have time and place freedom, but not reality. Yeah, that is one thing that's hard being a freelancer. You really need to try to up your fee, I guess, and then hopefully work fewer hours. Stephanie is sick of the rat race. The monotony, yep. Everything being controlled by my daughter's school schedule, yep. Sade, sick of the rat race. I work Monday through Friday helping someone else live their dream. Yeah, that's awful. Kara, I missed this question. Which question? I'm sick of the rat race, Jamie says. Oh, a lot of you. Sade wants a podcast. Okay, I see a few podcasts in there. Awesome. And Kara is so funny. She's already taken my course and she keeps coming to the masterclass because she's just such a great support. And she is, I swear, one of the most social people on the Facebook groups for world schooling. Sade, Japan is the #1 country I'm interested to start out, or Spain. Those two are two of my favorite countries. The link to the documents, I will share all of that. Okay. Later. It's just hard for me to do it all now. All right. Awesome. Thanks you guys for all the comments and the questions. Okay. So, all right, so let's get into this. And these are the topics that we're going to go over. We're going to talk about what is world schooling, the benefits, getting into the right mindset, overcoming fear, because a lot of us are quite afraid, setting goals, some tips to get started, and then I'll share my 12-week course information. So yeah, it's funny because it is good to talk about what is world schooling, because some people I meet, they don't exactly know what it is. They think that we all do the same thing the same way. We have our kids follow the same curriculum. it's kind of weird what people think of Worldschooling. That's not the truth. And then they think we all go to the same places, but which sometimes we do. But there's many different ways to Worldschool. Okay, so yeah, so again, I think it's really important to set goals. I'll share, some ways to set your goals to really figure out if, this is the right lifestyle for you. There are some people who think everyone could do it. I think you have to have some ducks in a row, so we'll go through it. Okay, so all right, so let's talk about what is Worldschooling. And so the following is a definition by Lainey Liberty. She's the blonde woman in this picture. And for a few years before I met her in person, she was one of the Worldschoolers that I was following. She was posting content and I really got inspired by her. She was the admin for a while on that big Worldschoolers Facebook group that has like 64,000 members. And then there was like a dramatic breakup between the admins and she got booted. So then she started the We Are Worldschooler group. So that's her. And she runs Project Worldschool teen retreats. She and her son, Moreau, they stopped doing the family retreats last year. And Lainey's kind of evolved because, her son's 24 now. I've interviewed them both for my interview series. You can find the replays in my Facebook group. Lainey now is focused mostly on being a teen and parenting coach. She's written a book on parenting teens. Anyway, so I was inspired by her and a few others. They were trailblazers. I mean, they were the original trailblazing families, right? So I finally met her in Peru and then we hung out again in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I attended one of her summits and we've stayed in touch online and we chat from time to time. So I really appreciate everything she's done to help and grow the Worldschooling community. And, now that she's kind of moving on to other things, I mean, she's still in the Worldschool world. I am doing my best to pick up the baton and help more families Worldschool. So this is a quote from her, and she says that Worldschooling is the intentional act of viewing the world as one's classroom. In its simplest form, Worldschooling is the act of intentionally learning from the world. Worldschooling combines multi-age and experiential learning with travel or cultural experiences to facilitate learning and discovery. Okay, and then this is a picture of her with her son. He's now 24. The term Worldschooling was coined over a decade ago and has been used by thousands of families since. I think probably tens of thousands of families. I'm trying to guess how many there are actively traveling. The big Worldschoolers group, like I said, has 64,000 members. I did do a poll in that group once asking, how many of you are actually Worldschooling? And about half are either full on doing it for years or part-time, or they launched recently, half. So that's what, 30,000? And, I do sometimes meet Worldschooling families who are not even active in the Facebook group. So maybe there's even more of them. So maybe conservatively, we can estimate 20,000, but I bet you it is much more. So let me know if you think my math is wrong. Anyway, there are tens of thousands of families doing it now, and Worldschooling has become an educational philosophy that works with each individual family's education style. There's no single way to Worldschool. What all the Worldschoolers have in common is a desire to adopt real-world experiences as inspiration to learn and go deeper. Worldschooling provides a world-class education to all that are faced with the demands of a highly globalized world. So thank you, Lainey, for putting together a really nice definition of Worldschooling. Okay, so let's keep talking about the different ways to Worldschool. Now, these are my words, not Lainey's, but I do believe that you don't have to travel to be considered a Worldschooler. You can do it from home. It's more of a mindset. It's an intentional act to include a global approach to diverse worldviews, cultures, rituals, rites, traditions, customs, history, art, language, food, politics, religions, topical deep dives, and much more into our understanding of the world. So here's a picture of my kids before we started traveling at the Japanese gardens in Seattle in the Arboretum. We went there and we fed the koi fish. We saw the little turtles. We looked at all the cute little temples and different types of bonsai trees. It was very zen, right? And then afterwards, we went to a local ramen restaurant, and it's the kind where they make the noodles from scratch and they make the broth from scratch. So to me, that was a Worldschooling experience. And if you live in a city or near a city, a lot of times they'll have an international district. Maybe they'll have a Filipino Day Parade or, various festivals. We went to a Scandinavian festival once. Maybe they celebrate Oktoberfest or Chinese New Year. So there are often other cultures, especially in the States or Canada and other, melting pot kind of countries. We have immigrants from everywhere, but even in other countries, I have seen Chinatowns and Koreatowns in Latin America. It's amazing. So there are a lot of places where there's kind of this melting pot situation, lots of immigrants, and you can explore other cultures in that town. So you may not have to travel widely to learn about other cultures. Hopefully you can access the learning of this and do some world schooling in your own hometown or your own country. So again, it's an alternative. Oops. It's an alternative to traditional education. It's a type of homeschooling, but without the home. So the world is the classroom, and it puts the emphasis on travel and real world cultural learning experiences to create a more holistic outcome. World schooling is simply using the world around you to educate your children and yourself. And if you're traveling around in an RV with your kids, they call it road schooling. I would still consider it world schooling, even if you're in your own country. You know, if you're from the US or Canada or Australia, these big countries where it's popular to RV around, you know, your country is part of the world, right? So I don't think you have to go across a border or you have to jump on a plane to world school. But then again, the nice way to do it is to get out there in the world. The preferable way is to physically get out there to another country and to explore, have some adventures. It's a great way to truly gain a global education. As world schoolers, we also travel to learn about other people's beliefs and cultures and customs. And this sometimes can be uncomfortable. You know, there can be culture shock when you go beyond the resort. You know, we're not talking about being a tourist here. We're talking about really immersing in the culture and learning about the culture. Other cultures are sometimes very different from ours, so it can sometimes be uncomfortable. People don't always think that the way you do things, you know, are the right way. They may have different ideas about so many things. So I do talk in my program about, you know, some of us having privilege. Some of us come from certain backgrounds in certain countries, high income countries, and we may be going to another country, and you might want to, you know, think like, oh my gosh, why are you guys doing it this way? You should do it the way we do it. And, you know, to think that you haven't figured it all out. It is hard not to do that. Please try not to do that. Please try to learn what is happening. I really encourage you to have an open mind and find out why the locals do what they do instead of judging them or trying to correct them and tell them which way they should do things. I mean, within reason. I mean, there are certain things people do in the world that are harmful to others, like some treatments of women in certain countries are physically harmful. So that I don't go for, but you know, if it's a smaller cultural thing, I try to learn about it and see why they do it. So we do try to go beyond tourism and strive to immerse into the local culture and build bridges of understanding and compassion. So that is sometimes hard to do if you're just going to a resort. Yeah, you might be talking to the people who work there, but it's not really immersing into the culture. I mean, they're used to working with tourists, right? So it wasn't until I started traveling, and you know, again, I do think there's a difference of traveling versus touring. Okay. And sometimes, you know, we do act like tourists. I mean, we do that sometimes, but you know, it's a different mindset. I had backpacked around the world for a year in 1999 as a young woman, and that experience totally changed my perspective of the world and my place in it. And you know, now when I would see news reports of something happening in the world, I have so much more compassion for the people suffering from whatever calamity was happening, and more understanding about what's going on in the world versus before. So even as a world schooler, it's a challenge, especially if you don't speak the language. It may not be easy meeting locals and getting to know them. It is easier to meet expats, you know, people who've been living there for a while and who speak your language. So I really encourage you to try to go beyond the tourist activities and try to immerse yourselves a little bit more in the culture. Try to go beyond the tourist bubble, the cruise ship, the resort, to really see how local people live. Because it's so easy for us to be in a bubble with other tourists or other expats or even other world schooling families. So I think it's a really good idea to try to immerse yourself in the local culture. I'll say it over and over again. You know, so I often say, again, to whomever wants to listen to me talk about it, that world schooling is not a vacation. It's a lifestyle and a way of thinking about the world. So let me know if you agree or not. So I think it's a good idea to engage in thoughtful dialogue in order to connect with one another and our own humanity. We believe these connections create a pathway to peace and better understanding. Honestly, I think if more people around the world traveled and got to know each other, perhaps we would have fewer wars, fewer misunderstandings. I mean, I guess Putin is pretty well traveled, but still, in general, I think most of us, we would have more understanding about our brothers and sisters around the world. So as world schoolers, we believe our journeys have value for ourselves, our families, and the world. We truly become global citizens. And I think that is a huge goal, at least for my family, because in our increasingly interconnected world, it's more important than ever. All right, let me take a quick peek in the group to see how everyone is doing. Kara says traveling absolutely adds to the desired experience. 100% agree. Travel versus tourist versus vacation. Amber says we learn a lot. We hop from state to state. Exactly. Wow, Kara, you have lots of good little golden nuggets here. I love Kara West. I bug her as well. Yeah, she is one of the queens of these Facebook groups. She's awesome. Okay, wonderful. Thanks, you guys. All right, so let's talk about why people world school. Why? I mean, why don't we just stay home and just do the same thing, live the same life over and over again? It's like, what is that? Groundhog Day? Some people like to do that, you know, and they like to have the continuity, I don't know, stability. They think that's stability. But why are we the crazy ones who want to go out there? What are the benefits? What are the pros and cons? What are the hiccups? So I did write a big Facebook post. I have it on my personal profile. I got to find it. No, that's not it. Here it is. So I collected a big pro-con list of world schooling. And I will paste this in the comments later. Don't worry. Let me just mention some of the highlights. I was researching this for a while. I asked people in various Facebook groups and my world school friends, and some of them are repeat. So I kind of put them in categories. But some of the reasons we do this is to learn about the world and other cultures, to be able to immerse into the local culture, to provide a better education for children. Yep. Learn new languages, to spend quality time as a family. Yes, I totally think this is possible. In my course, you know, we talk about geographic arbitrage, and the idea is to earn in dollars, pounds, or euros, or whatever high income, high currency there, and then spend time in the lower cost of living countries. And that will help make the lifestyle more affordable, so we don't have to work so much. And then we can spend more time with our kids, right? So yeah, and then experiencing new things to raise global citizens, to have more freedom, to live a more extraordinary life, improve mental health and personal growth. Yes, totally. I think some of us are able to get away from the rat race and, you know, having that pressure to keep up with the Joneses and all the stresses that we have back home. There is still stress while world schooling. It's different. And if you take my program, you will have less stress because I will, you know, help you not make those common newbie mistakes. I feel so bad when I read these posts in the world school groups of newbies, you know, stressing out over things that to me are so basic, as I've been living this lifestyle for a while and I've traveled a lot. I mean, some of these are minor stresses, others are quite stressful. And I wish I was able to explain to them some important things. There's just too many people, I think, winging it. And sometimes they get themselves in a pickle, or they've lost a lot of money, or they get really sick. So I don't know. Okay, but I do think that if you get out there, if you can figure out how to live this lifestyle nicely, it can help with mental health. I mean, not if you're on medication. Obviously, you should still take your medication, and you can. Some of the stuff you can get abroad. Some of it is a little tricky. We've had a hard time getting ADHD meds for my daughter. Anyway, so I think it helps. I think if you can focus on achieving lifestyle optimization, which we talk about in my program, I think it can help with your mental health. Okay, so to have more adventures, meet other like-minded family. True. I mean, I'm back in the States right now, and I meet lots of nice people, but I sure do miss my world schooling friends because they just get it, you know, they're just more global minded and they don't sweat the small stuff so much. They're not really into all the local little gossip stuff. I think that some of us have just kind of moved beyond that. Okay, escape the daily grind. Well, it's a different daily grind, but I think not as crazy. You can improve your finances as it's more affordable to travel. It is more affordable to travel than living back in a high income country or city, especially if you take my course. I can teach you how to do that. But some people go all out and spend tons of money, but I think there's a way you can do it more affordably. And, anyway, so give back, volunteer, to travel to and live in safer areas. Yes. So I have some friends, some African-American single mom friends. They left wherever they're from, Chicago or wherever. And there's a big group of them living in Merida, Mexico, or other nice places because they feel like it's safer for their kids. They feel like their kids will be less likely to get shot or get pulled over by police and get harassed. So it is often safer. I'll talk about safety a little bit more in a bit. And then you can get away from the high cost of living, political division. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff here, but yeah, the cost of living, the inflation in the US right now is crazy. I am having such reverse culture shock being back, sticker shock. And I was recently in Germany and Italy. It's not cheap there either. But earlier I was in Bulgaria and then Argentina, and I have friends who are in Bulgaria or Colombia now, and they're telling me, oh, we have this amazing menu del dia for $3. I mean, $3. I can barely buy some carrots for $3. And they're grocery shopping, getting tons of groceries for 3-4 days worth for $30. It's amazing. So you can get away from inflation. There is inflation around the world, but it's better in some countries, especially if you're bringing in dollars, pounds, euros, etc. So you can get away from gun violence, racism, the rat race, anxiety, keeping up with the Joneses, on and on. There are some cons. I'm not going to go into them. Obviously, my voice is not doing great because there are some cons. You may miss your family and friends. So I will share with you this link and you can read them later. But I think it is important for your family to figure out your why of why you want to do this. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in the masterclass and figure out your why, because perhaps this pro-con list will help you figure that out. Okay, so is a worldschooling lifestyle possible for your family? Again, I know some people who say, oh, worldschooling possible for everyone, but I wish that were true, but I do think you have to get some little and big ducks in a row. Obviously, one of them is to figure out if you can fund it. It's a top issue, how you can afford it. Maybe some of you, because of the pandemic, are now able to work from home and your employer or whomever allows you to continue to do that. And you don't have to stay in your town or your country. Maybe you have to work certain work hours and certain time zones, or maybe you don't. So you don't have to report in person. Again, more companies are allowing this. Some companies are trying to drag you back in, but there are strategies to try to convince your boss to let you work remotely. Read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, for ideas. Maybe you want to become an independent contractor. There's a lot more flexibility. Yes, you lose your health insurance, but you're going to be leaving your country, so you won't need it anyway, right? And you can purchase travel insurance and worldwide health insurance. I've interviewed some companies on that. So anyway, there are different strategies about this. Maybe you have your own online business. I mean, that's the best option, or you're a freelancer and you can work online, or you have real estate investments. I know one single mom, she can travel with her son mostly thanks to the rent that she gets from her house. She bought it at a good time and paid most of her mortgage off. Maybe you're able to retire early. Maybe you're following the FIRE movement. Have you heard of that? The Financial Independence Retire Early movement. I wish I got on that bandwagon a long time ago. Maybe you've been able to save over the years for an epic family gap year. So let me know in the chat, what's your situation? Do you already work online? Do you have some savings? But if you have an in-person job, if you have a brick and mortar job where you have to go into an office or a warehouse or a hospital or wherever you work, it's a bit tricky. You could work and save up money and then go travel and come back and get another job. This is what I used to do in my earlier years when I was backpacking around the world. But now there's many jobs and businesses that you can do online. So again, maybe you have some transferable skills. Take a look at my big income list. I mean, it is a bit easier if you have kind of those white collar skills. But there are some other jobs, and there are ways to travel cheaper and ways to get low cost or free accommodations. I go through a lot of those budget options in my course. Too many to list here. And again, so please take a look at my 235 income ideas. You could ask at trailblazingfamilies.com. Is that one? I think you can ask for both of them too. So take a look at that. And I have them by category, creative jobs, real estate, passive income, a whole teaching jobs, all that stuff. And then my last category is moving from place to place. So running some yoga retreats, for example, around the world. Or again, maybe you want to, where is that? That Worldschool, oh gosh, I've lost all my stuff. Here we go. Maybe you want to launch a Worldschool Hub. Again, I'm collaborating with 6 leading Worldschool Hub founders on a course this spring. So reach out if you're interested. Just say Hub waitlist, and then I'll put you on the waitlist. Yeah, because I think a lot of people are interested in this. They want to launch a hub. They're traveling, they're world schooling. They're like, why don't we just gather a bunch of people and, have a hub? But I don't think they anticipate all the challenges, and they end up pulling their hair out and then closing their hub. So we see many of them come and go in our group. So again, this group of experienced, amazing women and entrepreneurs and hub, they've all launched from scratch, and they've been running all of them for at least 2+ years. So they're probably the most experienced people, which is why I reached out to them. So, and they're, they talk amongst themselves. They've been supporting each other for years. Okay, so it is a bit harder if you are an electrician or do that kind of work. I mean, obviously you get paid really well in that job in the States or wherever, the high income country that you might come from. But it's hard to do it in a developing country, a lower cost of living country, as that's where a lot of world schoolers go. You might not speak language, and it might be impossible to get a job there because they're going to hire the locals, and it's probably illegal for you to be doing those jobs without a work permit, which are not easy to get for those jobs. But maybe you might want to buy one of those cheap houses in Italy in one of those dying villages and fix it up and then sell it, flip it. So there are some things. I do know of a Spanish family, and the mom, she coaches Spanish speaking people how to world school. And then her husband is a specialist for camper vans, and he's like a electrician, plumbing guy, and knows everything. So that's what he does, is he virtually helps people with their electrical and plumbing and water issues with camper vans. So he's doing that, and they're traveling. So it's pretty cool. Now, if you're interested in starting your own business, I have worked with this wonderful online business coach. Actually, I took her course like 4 years ago, and then I got sucked into that online school job for a few years. But anyway, she helped me organize many things. I know some sales and marketing, but she's really good at social media marketing and launching an online business and doing it in a nice relationship kind of way where, you're giving lots of value. You do a free masterclass like what I'm doing here. And, sharing some solid information, giving a good introduction to what you do, and then say, hey, for those of you who are really serious, why don't you enroll in my program? So she helps you learn how to be a coach. There's different ways, different types. You can be a health and fitness coach. You can be an alternative medicine coach. I've seen men coach other men about how to be good fathers and good husbands. So there's many cool things you can do. She can help you figure out how to be a business consultant or consulting in some other ways. She did help this one woman become an eco-friendly cleaning supplies consultant for hotels in the UK, which I thought was really interesting. Or maybe you want to launch a digital marketing agency or an online course like I have, or a membership site or a virtual assistant. So she is big about not doing stuff where you're paid by the hour, more of like having a program and creating value. But the virtual assistant thing is kind of an hourly thing, but she really encourages you to have a specialty so you can charge a higher hourly rate. So I will post the comments in the links. Actually, I have it right here. Let me just do it real quickly. So I'm posting it now. Hopefully, oopsie, that didn't work. Okay, I posted that. I should really try to post these things as I go, but it's kind of hard. So if you have figured out your income or passive income or remote job, or if you have a business or you're a freelancer, if you're a freelancer, you can just go to Fiverr, or you can start being a freelancer. I mean, I think Fiverr is free to join, Fiverr. And there's lots of freelance websites where you can do copywriting or translations. And again, look at my big list. There's so many ideas there. Or maybe you're able to rent out your property. I did interview a gal named Kristen who gave a talk about renting out your house on Airbnb on a monthly basis, not like day to day, but on a monthly basis. And she's able to earn a nice income stream that way. So that's in the guide section of my group. So let me know if you have the income thing down pat. Okay, so again, is this lifestyle possible? If you don't have any responsibilities or obligations at home, like if you don't have sick parents to take care of or some other thing, obviously, if you own a brick and mortar business that you can't sell and you can't train people to manage it for you while you're away, let me know in the comments what you have that might be holding you back. Do you have anything keeping you from doing this, whether it's taking care of aging family members, or maybe you have lots of farm animals or lots of pets? Are you healthy enough to travel? There are people I meet who have health issues and, they're traveling around with a cane and, they've got some physical issues, or there's people who have allergies, food allergies and whatnot. And they are traveling. I see them traveling. They have figured out how to manage their health issues and travel. And, one of my girls and we do have some minor health issues with our thyroid, and we have gotten healthcare around the world. We've gotten ultrasounds and some blood drawn, and it's been pretty good. But there are some health and physical issues that may be a little too much to overcome to be able to get on a plane and walk on cobblestone and whatnot. So let me know. And I highly advise you to talk to your doctors about this. I mean, it depends on the doctor. They might think, oh my God, no, it's scary to go anywhere outside of this state. But there's plenty of wonderful healthcare around the world that you can access. Are other members of your family on board? I have met many Worldschoolers where one of the spouses was into it and they had to convince the other one. And then later on, the other one was like, oh, honey, I'm so glad we're doing this. Seriously. So maybe show your reluctant spouse this masterclass. And I guess the ones who didn't like it, they went back home. So who knows? But can you be away from your friends and families and pets? That's a big one that comes up. I do have a couple participants in my program. They have pets. They find a friend or family who could take care of them, or they find someone to temporarily foster their pet. One of them is renting out their house, and they found a friend who's a vet to rent it. They gave him a really good deal. So he's going to be pet sitting their 3 dogs, still paying some rent. And I have some Worldschool friends who do take their pets with them. It's a bit of a challenge, but it can be doable if you don't mind the hassle, all the paperwork, the time, the money. Also, it will limit the countries you're able to visit. So if you're okay with that, then maybe you can bring Fido. Can you be away from all of your possessions? I do have a packing video. Let me see, where is it? Okay, I have this packing video. Let me turn it off. So it's about an hour long, and I also have a giant packing list that I will share with you with links to Amazon to those products. Those are my favorite products. And yes, I have an affiliate code, but so far I have not made enough money for Amazon to even pay me. So I think maybe they owe me $3 so far. I'm not really big into this, but if you buy anything, they will send eventually a couple cents my way. And these are products that we have used and traveled with over the last 7 years. Now, I used to travel with a check bag, at least one, if not 2, but lately we have been traveling carry-on only. So when I share with you my list, it's on a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet. I have 2 tabs at the bottom, and the other one is for carry-on. So I basically copied and pasted that and then deleted all the things, the bigger things that I don't take with us in the carry-on. But so I pared down quite a bit. You don't need to have a lot of stuff. Are you okay with that? A lot of Worldschoolers start out with tons of stuff and lots of luggage, and then they eventually start paring it down because they get tired of carrying it around and they don't miss their stuff very much. One of my daughters complains about that because she wants more stuff. She wants more fashion. The other one is happily a minimalist. I have to keep bugging her. Let's go buy you some new clothes. I mean, what teenage girl turns that down? My Gabby does. Can you believe it? So I guess I did a good job raising her not to be like a fashion obsessed Kardashian clone. That was one of my goals, seriously. And then the toy thing, they did travel with lots of toys at the beginning. I let them take a bunch of Legos and Barbies and all of that. They were 7.5 when we started traveling, and I had them carry the toys and their little backpacks. And then eventually they got tired of it and they weren't playing with it that much because we were so busy out there in the world. And so we started getting rid of the toys, and then they started making stuff, arts and craft kind of stuff, and then using little doodads and nature things and pine cones and whatnot. So, can you survive with all your things? Can your personality and your character handle this? Do you have an open mind? Are you flexible? Can you handle change, challenges, and adversity? Can you handle uncertainty? How do you handle things not being perfect? So some people, including some Americans, we're used to being things running really well. And some people get really upset when things don't run well, when they don't get stellar service. And you can't have that expectation when you're traveling around the world, because many cultures, they just don't operate at the same level of customer service of what you might be used to, unless you only want to travel to expensive cities and go stay in a Ritz-Carlton. Most world schoolers don't do that. So can you handle things not going your way all the time? Can your kids handle all those things above? Because maybe they're fussy, maybe they're sensitive, maybe they're on the spectrum, maybe they get upset really easily. And there are strategies to handle that. And I wanted to now mention, I'll share the link with you in a bit. That's me here. I am a speaker. There's 20 some speakers on this neurodiverse homeschooling summit. So I think it's halfway done, but I'll send you the link where you can get a VIP pass for $87, and you have access to all of these talks forever. So if you have a neurodiverse kiddo, like I do, Aubrey's got ADHD. She might be on the spectrum too. We haven't had a chance to get her diagnosed. Anyway, so check that out. And yeah, so you've got to think about all these things, and again, things don't go right all the time, and it can be a really good learning opportunities for your kids and for you, and a chance to stretch and grow. And it's really, travel changes you. When I started backpacking years ago, I would get really irritated and impatient, if I got bad service. And then after a while, I just chilled out. I just started going with the flow more and just being more zen about it and not sweating the small stuff. So I think it's really important, all of that. If you don't have, anything keeping you at home, let me know. And then, you can do it part-time. You don't have to do this full-time. You don't have to do it full-time, 24 hours, 365 days a year to be considered a world schooler. You can even, again, do this during school holidays, which obviously is more expensive because that's when everyone and their cousin will be traveling at that time. But I still consider it world schooling. Maybe you can figure out places that are not as busy and touristy and off the beaten path kind of places. So you don't have to sell everything and just go for it. You can try it. Just try it. All right. So are all family members are on board? Do you have a spouse or partner who's on board? Can you guys come to an agreement on it? If you're not, well, again, I've met several married women. It's mostly the women. They're happily married. Their husbands have a job back home. They can't travel. So other than their vacation here and there, they don't travel much. So the moms, they go travel with their kids, and some of them homeschool anyway. And they'll go for 1, 2, 3 months, and the husband will come for, maybe the beginning or the end. And it works out really well for them. So, and I had a married man in my last cohort. He plans to travel with his son. He already traveled a little bit in the States, and his wife just isn't really into it. She is happy to stay home and work her corporate job while dad and their 5-year-old kid go have adventures. So maybe you can come up with some compromise or agreement so the spouse who really values travel can take their kid out and see the world. Maybe you can ask your spouse, hey, listen, I really want our kids to see the world and become global citizens and have these experiences, living this traditional life, when you're really tied down in this brick and mortar job, office job, whatever it is, that's great. But are you okay if I take our kids to Peru for a month? So see if that is possible. Now, if you're not married with your children's other parent, do you have an ex? Do you share custody with your kids with someone? And if so, do you have that person's permission to take your kids abroad? This is super important. If you don't have full custody and the proper paperwork, if you have somebody else's name, other parent on the birth certificates, you will need to get their permission to have the travel plans notarized. You can't even in the US get a passport without that proper paperwork showing you have full custody or no name on the birth certificate, or both parents need to go to the passport office. So because some countries, they will not let you in, the US and other countries have agreements with each other, right? And actually, sometimes at the airport, when you check in, they will ask you, and they may not let you board the plane if you don't have that notarized letter. And sometimes they complain like this letter is a year old. They want like a more current letter. So it is some countries can be really strict. It doesn't always happen, but it can happen. And I would hate for the people who missed their flight, because of this issue, lose all their money on their flight because they didn't have the proper paperwork. And I always get asked when I'm crossing in and out of Canada with my kids for some reason. I also have a friend who wasn't able to leave Buenos Aires for Spain with her daughter because her husband, and they're married, she forgot to get a notarized letter from him. So she wasn't able to travel that day and had to go back and get that fixed. So make sure you have the proper paperwork with you, that you have the full authority to travel with your kids. And, it's not due to being kidnapped by strangers, although, child trafficking does happen. It's couples splitting up and one of them trying to take their kid to another country. And it is technically kidnapping. So that's what it's for. So are your kids on board? Do you have younger kids? I think they'll be fine unless they have a lot of anxiety. They're pretty easy to get on board. My kids were just going with the flow. They were 7.5 when we started traveling. We didn't take a lot of vacation, so they were super excited about it. But maybe, you have some tweens or teens that have lots of friends, or they have lots of sports and activities, and, they might have a harder time separating from that for a short period or a long term. And we do talk about that in my program and my course about having these family meetings and trying to get everyone on the same page if possible, and not just having the parents push it onto the kids like this is what we're doing, whether you like it or not. I don't really advocate that. I think it's better to have a conversation, see if they'll do a trial run, just 3 months or 6 months, or even a family gap year. And some families are doing that, and then they vote regularly. And often the kids end up loving it and voting to continue. And so that's what my kids and I did. We decided to try it for a year and then vote. And, here we are 7 years later. And we don't travel full time now. We're, sometimes spending time part of the year visiting my mom. Okay, so before we go on to the next thing, let me check to see if you guys have any questions. Oh, Charde and Dagmarita are chatting with themselves. Take them to a different state, you need permission. I don't think you need permission for another state, but you might. I mean, if that's in your child custody decree. Kara says Michaela is absolutely on board. Awesome. I have a friend that's been traveling there with her, weighing all the options. Sorry. We're seriously considering Boundless as a first Worldschooling experience. Does anyone have experience with them? Yes, I will talk about Boundless. I talk about Boundless in my course. I have been there. I've talked to them. I've interviewed them. If you mention Trailblazing Families, you'll get a $400 discount, €400 discount. I think there's pros and cons to Boundless. I think there's some good things about it. I think it's great. I think it's a good soft landing. When you start, they're a bit pricey, about 10,000 US for a family of 4, but they do include that school and the apartment and the co-working space and the community. I have friends who have gone to Boundless. So I've heard a lot of good things and I've heard a couple not so good things. So, okay. So Doug Marita says we're in Morocco. 6 years in Africa was the best cure for perfectionism. Yes, good. Good point. Totally. It's not me making fun. I'm just relieved. I'm not so scared of losing electricity. Oh gosh, you guys are having a great conversation in here. I lived off the grid for 3 years. That's funny. I've only had amazing experiences, over 10 gig, and it was has been safe. Oh, you guys are having an awesome conversation together. I always overpack. Tracy says, I travel around the UK pet sitting, but this is paid. Oh, good. I've seen trusted house sitters, but not use it. My kids and I are planning to go to the UK this summer, and we're going to try to pet sit through trusted house sitter. So yes, and someone's already shared with me their affiliate link, so I get a discount. Okay, I'm going to come back later and maybe after this talk, because I don't want to go too long. Oh, you're planning to take your dogs too, Jamie. Okay, awesome. All right, wonderful. How old are my girls? Who are you talking to? Me? Oh, that's Kara. Flights from the US to other countries are outrageous. I'm in Atlanta. Yes, yeah, they are. Well, again, in my course, I show you how to search on Google Flights and Skyscanner. And you need to be a little flexible to get those cheaper flights. But yeah, if you're traveling during the summer, yes, they are. We're going to be traveling not until June, which kind of sucks. I'm going to try to go a little earlier, but yeah, I do not like how high the prices are in the summertime. It's really difficult. This is why we usually like to travel off season. Okay. All right. So let's start talking about mindset. How are you guys feeling about this? Are you excited? I hope you're excited about it. And again, traveling extensively. This is not a 1-week vacation to Maui. I am not the person to help you with that. But if you're excited about an extended trip, about world schooling, that's awesome. Are you nervous? Take a deep breath. Take a bunch of those, and we will get through this together. Do you feel overwhelmed? Well, join my program. I will help you to turn your overwhelm into a solid plan, the whole A to Z about world schooling. Are you scared or worried about safety? Well, big news, you don't see this in regular media, but the world is much safer than you think. We'll talk about that again in a second. I have been to nearly 50 countries, and knock on wood, I've had a few bad things happen. They were pre-kids. When I was younger, I was in a train crash in Hungary. I had to go to the hospital, get some stitches in my head. And then I did get salmonella in India, and I lost 10 pounds in a not so nice way. So try to be vegetarian if you ever go to India. So I've had some minor bad things happen. I've had a couple people try to rob me, but I thwarted them. And I do share lots of safety tips in my course on how not to get pickpocketed or robbed. But again, nothing major, knock on wood. One of my kids did fall down at a playground in Colombia, and we had to get her some stitches. She got ringworm in Bali. It's not a worm, it's a fungal infection, because she kept picking up a dog that had ringworm. So that was a real pain to get rid of, but we did it. And I have seen mostly minor things happening to world schoolers out there in the world. Most of them are not a major deal, but some of them are not so great. I'm a big fan of your kids learning how to swim and not renting any Airbnbs or anything, apartments with swimming pools where they can have access. So if your kids don't swim, don't get them around water. Even if they do swim and you're renting a bungalow in Bali, just make sure you get one that has a fence around the pool, or there are companies that you can hire the fence, if you're staying for a while. So that is a big issue. And again, in my program, we talk about more about what to look out for, how to avoid those, some common issues that can happen while traveling. So I do my best to advise you and to help you avoid them. And so let's talk about safety. Perhaps you are afraid to travel to other countries. Safety is a big thing that people talk about. I think it would be a good idea to check out the Global Peace Index, which ranks the safest and most peaceful countries in the world. And then look at that list and stick to the safer ones. So I think I have the website here. So the countries in black are the safest countries. And then next is green, then yellow, then orange, like the US. I know probably at least half of you watching, or at least a third in my Facebook group, are from the US. So we are orange. And look, Canada is black, our neighbors, amazing. They are the safe country. Anyway, so I will share this link with you in the comments. But I think, yeah, just avoid the red countries and maybe some of the orange ones. Although I've been to Turkey, I've been to Myanmar, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Colombia. I mean, I've been to some of these orange countries. Anyway, so interesting, right? This map. You would think that the US would be maybe a yellow, but no, it is not a safe country. In fact, the US ranks 131st out of, what is it, 180 or 90 countries in the world on the global peace ranking for 2023, up from 129 in 2022. Surprising, right? The US ranking has gotten worse every year since 2016, often attributed to a decrease in life satisfaction, rising political division, and increasing wealth gap. And I would also say the gun issue. But yeah, I don't worry about the gun issue when I'm abroad, but when I'm in the States, I don't like to be in big crowds. I have a second cousin who survived that Las Vegas shooting thing, and I have another family member who worked at the school, Marjorie Douglas in Parkland, Florida. She moved with her kids to Japan after that experience. So yeah, it's not nice. But again, I've been to nearly 50 countries, and my mom is always telling me, be careful, don't get kidnapped. And now with my kids, don't have your kids get kidnapped. And again, I've been to nearly 50 countries. My kids have been to 20, many of them repeatedly. And so far, we haven't come close to being kidnapped. And I don't know any world school who has. It's extremely rare, and we're not the typical target for kidnappers. So try not to be afraid of that. Try not to listen to those people who think the world is dangerous. It's not. It's safer than where you live if you're from the US. It is. The world is much safer than you think. So don't be afraid to travel abroad. And I feel safer in so many countries than when I'm in the States. Seriously. I hope you guys realize that. I hope, you will take a chance on this, give it a try. I hope you will get over your fears about traveling with your family, if you have any. Breathe a lot, try to enjoy the here and now, including the unknowns. Keep trying to make decisions from a positive mindset, not a negative one. Keep making decisions from love and light, not fear. Many of us watch the news on TV and on social media. The media system is intentionally set up to show you the bad in the world. Fear says, I have a degree in communications and media. I worked in media for many years. Fear sells. Putting fear in you gets you to come back and check the news often, so you don't miss out on the latest disasters and problems in the world. But in general, the world is quite safe. And most of the time, wonderful things are happening in the world. And I promise you, I have seen the world. I've been out there. And again, I've had a few bad things happen to me during traveling, the train crash in the Salmonella. And, there was somebody in Frankfurt who tried to steal money from me. And then I put the teenage boy in a headlock. I don't know why I did that. I got my money back. It was kind of instinctual. Anyway, so knock on wood, we haven't had too many bad things happen while traveling as a family. The vast majority of world schoolers that I know of have been very safe. So try to turn off the fear mongering news, pack a suitcase, book some tickets, and get out there. Because it will be wonderful. The vast majority of us have an amazing time, but just try to get rid of the fear. We are programmed to be safe. It's like biologically in us. We're very logical people, though, and we can explain to ourselves that we are most likely going to be just fine when we travel abroad. And just keep telling yourself things will work out even better than we imagine. It's a massive jump, but very possible and worth it. So just keep breathing. Now, if you are an anxious person or your family members are, try to take some small trips to a new to you town nearby. If one of you fears traveling alone with your kids, just try that and then go further afield. So I hope you feel better, and let me know in the chat how you feel. And, but sometimes some of us get some judgment or criticism from family members or well-meaning friends. There's a lot of societal and social programming about this. So let me know, are you getting any pushback from family or friends that you've told? Maybe you've told people that you're thinking about world schooling. It's not easy to do things against the grain. Just be okay with being different. We are ahead of the curve. We are trailblazers. So the number one regret for life, for dying people, is they say, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. So again, some of these other people, they just want everyone to maintain the status quo. It's understandable that people might have questions and want to play devil's advocate. They are worried about you and your kids. They're worried about school, socialization, our safety. Those are common things that come up. Stability. You know, I think as long as they have a stable family, even if you're nomadic, it'll be fine. You know, that's stability. And up until the agrarian age, when farms were invented, we human beings weren't nomadic. I mean, usually in groups, but for millions of years, I mean, this is not abnormal. Humans, it's okay for us to be nomadic, okay? So some people are worried that we're gonna ruin our kids' future. But, you know, if they do, just ask them, just say, hey, you know, the school system, you know, did you enjoy going to school? What do you remember from school? How much did your teachers care about you compared to your parents? I mean, how were your teachers able to care for you versus the 30 other kids in class? And again, no knock on teachers, but it's the system, the way it's this factory model of schooling. It's just, it's not the best way for each child. It works for some kids, but it doesn't work for a lot of kids. And, you know, you can ask them, did you learn much about the world outside of your own country? And, you know, have them think about their education, and then try to say in 2024, with the internet and with the ability to fly all over the world and all these wonderful advances, why not go? You know, and you can kind of turn it around saying, don't you think you're limiting yourself by staying in the same town and doing the same thing over and over again? And, you know, kind of being stuck in this rat race, kind of a career and job and lifestyle. And, you know, you can turn it around from them. I mean, we're trying to go seek adventure and freedom and a wonderful education for our kids. So try not to worry too much about them. There is this blogger. He's not a world schooler, but he is, I think, a homeschool dad or unschool dad, the Stark Raving Dad. He has this podcast called Dear Grandparents. So I will share this in the link later. He gives some advice about that may be useful if you have relatives or friends that give you a hard time. So, you know, you just have to understand that our friends and family, our extended family, they want to protect us from what they think is a chaotic path. You know, what they don't understand is that we don't all want the same things. What they consider normal is stability, a 9-to-5 job, and getting all the things that society tells us that they want, all the material objects, you know, all the typical activities our culture does, getting our kids into top university, which, by the way, world schoolers can do. Again, we are not all the same. And due to that, we find what makes us happy. And it's, you know, it is hard not to have support from loved ones. I do know world schoolers who don't keep close contact with some of these family members who are very negative, which is sad. And they're living their best life. And these people still, like, they will post their pictures on Instagram or Facebook, and the family is still like against what they're doing. It is sad. So it is hard not to have support from loved ones. And again, most of you hopefully will have lots of support from people. You will probably have people happy for you and envious, and they'll be traveling vicariously through you. But for those occasional naysayers, you know, you may not see their point of view and they won't see yours. They are reflecting their fears onto you. And they come from a good place, but it just doesn't align with what you need right now. So you can just say, thank you so much for your comments. What is normal to you is not normal to me. I'm not asking for you to change. I will do what makes my family happy at this moment. And it is hard to ignore them, but you can try. And you can just, again, say, thanks to the beauty of the internet, it's now possible to work online. We don't have to be stuck in one place. If we want, we can go out and explore the world. It's easier than ever, and more opportunities are out there to thrive. There's a big community of other world schooling families out there, and we support each other. There's this crazy lady, Liz Quain, who has a course, and she helps people. She holds their hand during the 12-week course, and even afterwards. You can keep coming to our weekly Zooms. So, you know, the kids are amazing. They're learning amazing things. We're raising free thinking global citizens instead of obedient corporate worker bees. I mean, that's what the school system is for. It's not for raising entrepreneurs. There's no entrepreneurship, hardly, in schools, even in universities, unless it's Stanford Business School. And that's just because they're in Silicon Valley. Anyway, so let them know. Thank you very much. This is what we want. This is working for us. Thank you for your concern. We're living the best way we know how. And then just try to ignore them and spend time with people who get you and your lifestyle. And if you're on social media, you maybe not block them, but you can kind of change your thing where you see less of their posts, maybe. And then you can post to everyone except for them if you want. So I just say, keep going, mamas and papas. Don't let the naysayers ruin it for you. You know, we all get you. Okay, let's talk about socialization quickly. This is a hot topic, and people think that we don't socialize, but we have never had a problem meeting lots of people while living this lifestyle. And we started traveling before the Worldschool hub started popping up. So maybe because I'm a social person and I make an effort to find friends for us, I do once in a while meet Worldschool families who are kind of maybe a bit more introverted, or they're just not social people and they don't socialize a lot, maybe with a family here or there. And their kids are fine with it, but I'm social, and you know, it's not even just for my kids, it's for me too. So I don't want it to just be me and my kids traveling around the world and not meet people. My kids also don't want to just hang out with me, especially now that they're teenagers. So we do meet locals and stuff, and we meet with other people who are like-minded. I've always joined the Facebook groups and posted, you know, hey, I'm going to be in such and such country. Who else is there? Or some of them do a where in the world are you post. Those are great. I did post in my group recently, what continent are you on? So just try to help you guys organize it. I do know a few Worldschool parents, and I think one kid, they launched an app where you can post where you are and you can make a profile. The problem is I have never updated it. So the information on those apps is from like 3 years ago. So it is a bit of work to find people. It can be sometimes. Again, it depends on if you're going to go hub. That's the easiest way, and it's kind of a soft landing. Or you can kind of go to more casual ones, kind of where people are just meeting up organically. You know, one of my daughters, she's a teenager. She's on Snapchat only to chat with her other Worldschool friends. They have an avatar on Snapchat, and it shows this cute little map and these avatars and all around the world where her Worldschool friends are. It's super cute. So they keep in touch after they meet in person, of course, and they are on the Snapchat together, Instagram, and on Discord. So they keep in touch. I mean, they didn't when they were younger. I think I tried to get them the Facebook for Kids thing, and I would just organize Facebook or like Zoom meetings with my kids and their other friends or family back home. So anyway, they do keep in touch with them. We have met a bunch of families that we've seen repeatedly in 2, 3, 4 countries. There's one family we met in Bali. We later saw them in Thailand. We hung out with them in Medellin, Colombia, and then Mexico. And we're hoping to meet up with them again. And there's a bunch of people I became friends with on Facebook, and then later we met in real life. And my friend Emmy, she runs, actually, her kids, she and her kids are in a couple of these pictures. We met in Mexico, and then she runs a Worldschool hub in Bansko, Bulgaria. We've been there twice. It's a winter ski hub. I highly recommend it. So again, people in these pictures we've seen repeatedly. I make an effort. So I think after a while, you've been doing this for a while, you can just reach out to your Worldschool friends and say, hey, are you going to this place? Are you going to this hub? Let's go together. Where are you going to be this spring? Can we meet up? Can we try to find an Airbnb near you? You know, that kind of stuff. And I did interview the Traveling Circus group. It's a group of families, like 5, 6, 7 families and 2 teachers, and they travel together as a group. They move, I think, every month or 6 weeks or something. So that is, these types of groups are popping up. Try to find my interview with them. And, you know, some of them are just doing it, not even as a business, just because that's what they want. They want to travel with some teachers and they can't afford their own private teacher, so they get a bunch of families. So I think it's a really great idea. And again, somebody already mentioned Boundless Life. It's a more upscale Worldschool hub and a school. Again, it's about 10,000 a month, euros a month for a family of 4. It depends on their location. They have locations in Portugal, Greece, Italy. I've been to the Italian one in Tuscany, and then Bali, and they have more coming. So I did interview one of the co-founders, and then I met in person another one, and I got a tour of their school in Italy. It's the Finnish model. And they are launching a program called Trailblazers. Nice name. My name came first, but anyway, I guess they were inspired. It's not Trailblazing Families. I forget what it's called. There's a couple Worldschool businesses that have the word Trailblazers in there. It's kind of funny. So people get us confused. But Boundless program called Trailblazers, I think it's for 12 and 13-year-olds, or maybe 13 and 14-year-olds. Anyway, my kids are going to be too old for their program. Plus, I can't afford 10,000 a month. But if you can, and if you mention Trailblazing Families, you're supposed to get a 400 euro discount. Anyway, there are tons of social opportunities. We socialize a lot. We go to Worldschool hubs, or we go to casual meetups. We actually mix it up because my daughters don't want to be in community all the time. Again, we went to that ski hub in Bulgaria twice that Emmy runs, and we were traveling around Italy for a couple months this past spring, meeting a few other Worldschooling families for short meetups. We went to the Worldschool pop-up hub in Florence. Then we went to Germany for 10 days. And even while we were there, just in a random small town visiting a relative, there was a Worldschool mom who posted in a group that she was going to be in Kaiserslautern. And I'm like, we're in Kaiserslautern. Why are you coming here? So we met up for a coffee. It was so funny. Anyway, so the more people you know, the more people you meet, and just try to friend request a bunch of people, especially the people who have kids your age, your kid's age, you will meet plenty of people. I think I've never had a problem with it. So yeah, this socialization thing is not an issue, especially for homeschoolers and worldschoolers and unschoolers. It's just not a thing. It's a perceived thing, but it's not a thing. Okay, so let's talk about creating a vision board or a dream board. I highly recommend you do this. It's a very handy exercise before embarking on a Worldschool journey. So you can make a physical one or a digital one on like Canva, or you can go on Pinterest. I've had a Pinterest board, like, I don't know, bucket list and then done, like to do and done. And it's so nice to move my pins over to the done board. So make a dream board. These are actual dream boards that the participants of one of my first 2 cohorts made. So you can see what they're dreaming about. So think about what you want regarding your family travel and Worldschooling, but also your passions, interests, and what do you want your life to mean? Not just the travel stuff, but other things. Talk with your spouse, your partner, your kids, involve them in your dream making. And then, maybe talk with supportive friends and family, supportive ones, not the naysayers. Maybe post about your plans on social media. I mean, this will help you manifest, this dream, right? And it'll help you also create accountability. And just try to take the step to make your dreams come true. Possibly, and probably the best way to do it is participate fully in my 12-week program and researching what you want to do and just being accountable. So I think then it's a good idea to make a commitment and set a date to launch. Is it when your kids are finished with school, or is it halfway through the school year, when you're done with your project, when you've sold your house, when you've sold your business? Like, when do you think you're going to launch? So write in the chat when you plan to launch. And then make a timeline of what needs to be done and by when. And so some questions to ask yourself while you're making this dream board. These are questions that kind of help you envision your new Worldschooling life and just life in general. Help set some life goals and intentions in general. Again, I'm not a life coach, but I got these questions from a friend of mine who did this really awesome workshop, like with a group of Worldschoolers. And so thank you, Anne. I am adding some of your questions on here. So ask yourself, what are a few things you are proud of? Which of these are most important? What have you learned during the past year or so? Which lessons were most important and why do they matter? Okay, I think it's really important to reflect on what's been happening in our life recently. Are there any old projects or goals that are taking up mental space? What are you willing to let go of? This is a hard one because sometimes we get so stuck on something and it's not working out. And sometimes you just need to let go of some things to make room for new things. Is there emotional baggage that you need to release? What limiting beliefs no longer serve you? So many of us have limiting beliefs. One of them could be, I can't travel in world school with my kids. And that is a limiting belief, but many of you can. And what is most important to let go of and why? And then, what do you want to create for your future in terms of your health or well-being, financially, relationships, family, friends, career, contributions, experiences, and your environment? Think about each of those things. How do you want to feel moving forward? What are your 3 most important goals to accomplish in the next 12 months? What do you need in order to bring these goals to fruition? And then the last question, what is life asking of you now? What values need to be honored in this life you want to create? What would life be like if you lived your purpose completely? What does your future self 10 years from now want your present self to know? If you had 10 minutes left to live, what would you regret not doing? And this is a really powerful one for me. I mean, it kind of needs, it tells you need to do, poop and get off the pot, that kind of thing. Just you need to start acting instead of just pushing your dreams away. What kind of memories and legacy do you want to create and leave for your children? I meet so many people who have grown kids and they just say, oh, I wish we did this when my kids were younger. And now they're adults now. And just try to, if you have this dream to travel with your kids while they're still young, try to, have it happen sooner rather than later. Make this a big goal for yourself and make a commitment and set a date. When you set a date, it's more likely to happen. Put it on a calendar, a Google Calendar or a physical calendar. Tell 3 people who are not your family members. Tell, some friends. And it just, again, helps you be more accountable. Consider a project management app to organize tasks. Now, I just want to share you, I started using Trello. I've used Trello before, but this is the Worldschool Hub project, because I guess I'm helping with that. I have these different tabs: project resources, brainstorming, questions for discussion for our next meeting, to do, in process, pending, awaiting approval, blocked, done, and then decided not to do. And it's really nice to be able to, move one to another section. We haven't done that yet, so I'm gonna move it back. So think about using something like Trello, and there's other ones out there. Again, just a simple to-do list or an Excel spreadsheet, whatever works for you. But I like having that done column, the to-do and done column. And best way to do it, I think, is to join my course. I'll give you a step-by-step plan of what to do. Also, I highly encourage you to attend our very popular weekly Thursday group Zooms. They're currently on Thursdays. We can move them to different dates if it doesn't work for you. So it's a good idea to meet and check in and stay accountable, because I do sometimes ask for updates. So I hope that helps. All right, so yeah, and then just don't forget to involve your kids in the planning and decision making, depending on their age. Consider how long it'll take you to untether from your current commitments. Think about how long it will take you to pare down your possessions if you plan to do that. And I do give some tips in my course on what to do. And then just check off your decision and task list until it's all done. And then launch and bon voyage, or buen viaje. So hopefully that helped. And one thing, if you want a little bit more help, where is it? Not there. Okay. If you want more help with a Worldschool vision map, I have a Facebook Live tomorrow, I think around the same time, 11 a.m. Pacific, with Nancy Schmidt. And she is really good at helping people create a Worldschool vision map, figuring out what's best for your family's future. I will post a link in this chat, but also look in the events tab in the group as well. So it's tomorrow. Nancy's awesome. And she'll talk a little bit more about the mindset and creating a wonderful vision and plan for your family. Okay. And yeah, so I think, again, if you truly want a different lifestyle, then and to Worldschool, it's important to set a plan with a timeline and just make it happen. Stop dreaming and saying that you'd like this lifestyle to happen someday magically, but it's just better to make a plan and then make, every single decision you take from that plan on leading you to that goal. Stop buying stuff and start getting rid of stuff. Don't keep any clutter, just toss it. Take pictures of things that you think are important and just sell it or get rid of it or give it away. I have shed so many material possessions many times over my life. When I've moved to different cities or started traveling and world schooling, I don't miss the vast majority of my stuff. It's just stuff. So ask family and friends not to give you and your kids lots of physical gifts unless they're helping you meet your goal, maybe some backpack packing cubes, that kind of stuff, money in your travel account. And just think daily about your future lives and start living that way now. And just every day do something to help you further that goal. So I hope this is helpful for you. Let me check the chat and see how you guys are all doing. We still have 30 of you here. Awesome. Oh my gosh, so many new comments. You guys are having an awesome chatting with each other. I don't even know which questions are for me. Charde says, is anyone interested in getting properly protected? What does that mean? Adrian's doing research for US and Canada cross-country trip. Awesome. Our goal after that is international in Europe. Wonderful. Kara, I launched by realizing my mindset is that of world schooling when my daughter was an infant. Yes, you've been wanting to do this for a long time. Wonderful. Oana says, thinking about doing a 1 month. Yeah, trusted house sitters. Good. Okay, I think a lot of you are having a wonderful chat. And so I'm going to come back later and see if you have any specific questions for me. But thanks for hanging out, guys. And so I wanted to let you know that all of this is important, but it is a little bit easier said than done. I know personally that planning and researching how to travel long-term with kids and world school can be overwhelming. Again, it took me 2 years to figure it out. I was trying to sell a business at the same time too, but it still was a lot of information. I was an experienced traveler, but not yet with kids. So I just went down so many rabbit holes. And this is why I have, this is what I did. I tracked down a handful of experienced world schoolers. I got inspired by them to try out this lifestyle. I dug through various social media channels, went through those rabbit holes. I read the 4-Hour Work Week and some other digital nomad and travel type books, blogs, and podcasts. There wasn't a lot out there like there is now. And now there are some blogs, books, and mini courses and one-on-one coaching you can access, but nothing quite as in-depth and comprehensive, nothing that covers the complete A to Z of how to world school and traveling extensively as a family. It is a lot of hard work to figure this out on your own. It's a lot of time and effort to search, follow, post, ask questions, and dig around for the answers to these important questions. I see people using various ways to research and prepare, which is terrific and useful. I'm so happy that the interest in world schooling is growing. But again, it's a lot of effort to piece everything together. And I often see many people launching and making some newbie mistakes once they launch. Some are kind of winging it and figuring things out as they go. And then I see their posts on Facebook, their sad posts, their frustrated stories. And I wish I could have helped them before they started traveling. And again, some people do launch and then they are overwhelmed and then they take my course and they feel much better. So I am trying to shorten the research and prep time frame for all of the current newbies in my super comprehensive 12-week course and better prepare families like yours so you can start this lifestyle sooner with more ease and more mistakes. So again, it's my mission to help parents like you learn how to confidently travel and world school your children so you can live the life of your dreams as thriving global citizen. So my first 3 cohorts, just a little background. My first one launched January 2023. My second one started in June, my third one in October. So I had fabulous groups of parents participating. They were eager to learn how to confidently travel and world school their children and do it really well. So it was a big hit with all my participants claiming that it well prepared them to confidently live this awesome lifestyle. Also, my series of interviews, over 60 and counting, inspiring World School veterans. Again, the replays can be found in my Facebook group or YouTube channel. Actually, not all of them are there yet. I need to get them up there. So my 12-week program goes like this. Every Monday, starting January 29th for the 4th cohort, I will post that week's training in a members-only platform. So in addition to this masterclass, the first 5 weeks are focused on travel, logistics, and lifestyle related content. Then the next 7 weeks are education related, like the top 6 ways to World School. And the last one is about the future of World Schoolers and also getting them into university if they choose. The training content is available to you forever, ever. And I mean, as long as the internet is alive, it's there. You will also have access to my 545-page course presentation. I have it like this on Google Slides, and I often have the links in the speaker notes. And you can do a Control F to type in something, travel insurance, and find that slide. And then also my training video before, I mean, sometimes I was streaming them live initially, like I'm doing now. They would be 1, 2, 3+ hours long, not every week for the 12 weeks, but in total, it's about 25, 26 hours. I haven't really counted it. I'm going to be chunking them up in shorter videos and putting them on a website and labeling them. So it'll be much easier for you to watch the content you want. I mean, hopefully you'll watch it all, but find the content maybe later on that you're looking for. And once you watch that 20, 30-minute video, you can mark complete. So it's easier for you to know what you've already gone through. So you get access to the presentation and the videos, tons of detailed and practical info laid out in a step-by-step fashion. I tried to have like, first you do this, then you do this, then you do this. So it's less overwhelming to plan everything. So part 1 is this masterclass. It's the introduction, overview of Worldschooling and the mindset. What is Worldschooling, the benefits, all of that stuff we just talked about. Then part 2 that goes for 5 weeks is how to travel as a family. So traveling with children above and beyond going on a short vacation. So whether it's a long-term or part-time Worldschooling trip or doing a gap year or taking a traveling sabbatical. So it's about traveling with the intention of learning from the world. And so these are the topics. Week 1 is January 29th, in a couple weeks. We're going to talk about initial planning, budgeting, and taking care of home base. And I actually have a more detailed list that I share with people who are taking my course. Week 2 is further planning, things to know, making decisions, and booking. Week 3 is, and you're off, launching airports, borders, and first days. Week 4 is settling in, activities, immersing into the local culture, finding community, and volunteering. Week 5 is daily life, because I want you guys to get into a good groove, juggling work, maybe, relationships, and traveling responsibly. And then we get into part 3, which is educating, Worldschooling your kids. There are many different ways to give your kids an extraordinary education while traveling and exploring the world. I really want you guys to know that this is awesome. If you do it the right way, and I teach you how, your kids, if they want to go to university, especially in countries where homeschooling is legal, a lot of them, even on the gray area, these universities love World School kids. They love homeschool kids, but they especially love World School kids because these kids bring such a unique global perspective, which the world needs, you know? So it's much better than the traditional education system. And I will help you figure out which is the best way for your individual child. Okay, so week 6, I give you a big overview of the education system, the history of the education system, the problems with it, and then we go into homeschooling your kids while you're world schooling. And I think part of that video I will share, I've been meaning to share in the free Facebook group, because I feel like a lot of people still don't understand the education system and the history of it and why it was set up and how it's not working anymore in the 21st century. I also share a big list of 700 online learning apps with information and links. So if you're homeschooling and having your kids do a bunch of online apps like Khan Academy and Duolingo, I mean, there's way more, there's 700 of them. I share that list and it's categorized about topic. Week 7, we talk about online schools and online safety. I've interviewed a bunch of online school founders. I share with you a list of 85 online schools with lots of information, whether they're progressive or traditional, whether they're synchronous or asynchronous. Lots of information will be shared. Week 8, hiring nannies, tutors, teachers at the destination you're at or online or to travel with you, depending on the age of your kids. I also share a list of 30 online tutoring companies with info and links. Again, not just the name and the link, there's info in there. Sometimes I try to put in the tuition, and the age it's for, and a bunch of other information. I don't list every single online tutor out there because there are so many, I can't even count, but I list the bigger tutoring companies. Okay, week 9 is in-person local schools at destinations around the world. I share a list of over 100 Worldschool friendly local schools around the world with info and links. Again, not just the name and the link, but some information on them. And that one I have to update quite a bit because sometimes the school, they close because of COVID and there's new ones popping up. Week 10 is Worldschool summits, hubs, and pop-ups. Now there were 2 Worldschool summits. They are no longer running, but I mentioned them. Maybe somebody will launch one someday, another one. I do not plan to, maybe a retreat, but not a summit. Hubs, Worldschool hubs, and then the pop-ups. And I do share a list of over 60 Worldschool hubs around the world with info and links. That is the most difficult list to keep updated because they're always coming and going. And maybe not by accident. Some of them were always just pop-ups, they're temporary. And then week 11, we talk about unschooling, self-directed learning, child-led learning. And I explain how to do it. I mean, these are 1-2 hour videos. They're not just like a 10-minute video. I really go into how to do it. And then I send you to the right other resources to go deeper if you choose that way. And then week 12 is the future of Worldschool kids. So why is that misspelled? It's not misspelled. Okay, so what do you guys think of the content of the course? All right, and then Tuesdays or Wednesdays, I interview other Worldschooling families or service providers. I was doing 2 a week. It was way too much. I have, again, a library of over 60 of them. The participants of my last cohort could not even keep up with the new ones, plus the ones I had recorded previously. So I'm going to just do probably 1 a week moving forward. And then because I have this big library, a lot of times in my course, I'll say, we're talking about XYZ, I interviewed so-and-so, here's a link to the interview with them. So I try to, again, I have that directory, but I do try to keep that kind of stuff in the speaker notes of my presentation. And again, you can find the replays of my previous interviews in the guide section. This stuff these interviews, they've taken me a lot of work to find out who to interview. Obviously, I want to interview the best people and then reach out to them, coordinate, and send them the Zoom link and all the information. And it's not easy, a lot of work. And then once I interview them and they come up with the questions, and then interview them and then download it and then put it to YouTube. It's just a lot. And I've put them all in the Facebook group for free. So eventually I'm going to be doing these lives. I'm not going to get rid of what's already there, but I'm going to be doing these lives in a member only VIP group with a small fee, not a huge one. But if you don't want to take my course, because obviously if you take my course, you can be in that VIP group forever. But if you don't want to, if you're not right for you timing wise, or you're already Worldschooling, whatever, then you can just pay a small fee to be in that group. I haven't launched it yet. Just keep tuned, stay tuned. All right, then the most fun thing to do is every Thursday, at least for now, Thursday in the US time, it might be Friday in Australia and in Asia. We have a private group Zoom to check in with each other's progress. Participants can ask me questions. They can be in community with like-minded parents. Like you see in this chat, how you guys are chatting. This is what we do all the time. We have people like in the same stage you're in that are going to be launching within the next 3 months, 6 months, a year. Actually, I have people who join my group, my course, and they're not going to launch for a couple of years, but they still wanted to get started on it because they know they can keep coming to these meetings and be in community. So we typically talk about that week's topic, but you guys can ask me questions about anything. So many participants found this to be super valuable. It's my favorite part of the week to connect with everyone. Charlotte said, I love connecting and chatting on these calls with other participants, creating a great community. And yeah, I mean, I have met some of my participants in real life, and then they have met each other. So it really has become a nice community. So it is a lot of info. I've organized quite a bit, the interviews, all the stuff that's in my brain. I put it on the 545-page presentation. I basically wrote a book about how to Worldschool, but I put it in a course format instead of just a book. I may write a book someday, but it might be not the word for word the same of what I have. So it resulted in about 40 to 50 hours of really helpful content per cohort that my participants can refer to forever. And they can access the countless resource lists of the Worldschool hubs, the Worldschool friendly local schools around the world, all those lists that we update regularly, lots of video and written content, tons of detailed and practical information, the A to Z of Worldschooling and family travel to help parents like you know what to do in this big, exciting, and sometimes challenging endeavor of traveling extensively as a family and raising smart, savvy global citizens and doing it in a nice way and making fewer mistakes. So it was tons of work, but it was so worth it because the participants of my program, I'm going to be sharing a bunch of testimonials. I don't want to bore you all with them, but they have been, sending me rave reviews. They've been saying that course is great. I'm learning so much. I feel as though the overwhelm has been swept away. Thank you, Marjorie, from Australia. Your program helps me feel more confident in this journey and our decision and desire to walk this path. Thank you, Mimi from Maine. The best decision. We have learned so much and gained a ton of confidence in our choice to make this move. Thank you so much, Liz. Thanks, Tiffany from New Mexico. Charlotte says your course goes through everything you can possibly need to know and prepare for. I asked them at the end of this, like, what did I forget? What did I miss out? And I'm sure there's stuff I missed out. I mean, but I try to get the major stuff in there, but they tell me I can't think of anything. So I just feel like if I kept adding to the course, it would be a 50-hour course. It would be a 1,000-page presentation, but I tried to get most of the information in there. Jeff from Washington State, he said, your course has helped, was the help we needed to get over the fear, especially for my wife. So glad we participated and recommend it to others who are heading out for this Worldschool adventure. He's going to be on that panel discussion on Thursday with us. They're in Vietnam. They're having a blast. Sonia said, I feel way more confident in both our choice to do this and our ability to make it happen. So it's been transformative. Thank you, Sonia from California. She's having a blast right now in South America. So I'm super happy. It makes my heart just pound, pound, pound to know that these wonderful and savvy parents found value in my program. They feel better equipped to travel extensively, show their kids the world, and raise global citizens who are better to take on whatever the future has in store. I really think that the kids will be better prepared. So again, these are some of the participants who have recently launched. I think I mentioned I have that Facebook. Oh no, where is it? Oh my God, I have so many here. Okay, then we have Charlotte in here too. So they're going to be doing a live stream with me on Thursday. So I would be honored to help you achieve your Worldschooling dreams. I really want to help more families launch into this amazing, adventurous, and trailblazing lifestyle. I do think it's possible to live this way, whether it's full-time, part-time, for a gap year, or just to try for a few months. I have people taking my course. It's so funny. It's a 12-week course, and they're going to go travel for 8 weeks, which is hilarious. But it's their 8 weeks is a trial run, So they found lots of value into it. Again, if I can manage to do this as a solo parent of 2, so can many other families, including yours, I hope. So you are officially invited to join my 4th cohort of the Trailblazing Families 12-week group program, How to Worldschool and Travel Extensively as a Family. I will help you turn the research and decision overwhelm into a practical and step-by-step plan. I'll help you give the confidence to make this big and wonderful life change. And again, I know I'm sounding like I'm bragging, but this is what my participants from my previous cohorts have told me. So I'm using their words. Okay, so here are some details. It starts in less than 2 weeks on Monday, January 29th. We are going to have a kickoff meeting, I think 11 a.m. Pacific on that Monday. You will have access to the course content. I used to live stream my course content, but I recorded it last time and it's going to be on that web platform. So week by week, I'm going to be releasing that week's video content, and you will have a members only access to the platform. And you will have that information forever. And my presentation and my resources and the private group, we do have a Facebook group forever. So, and then you can join future live cohorts for no extra charge. So I'm planning to run these 3 times a year. I'm going to eventually do it so I'm not running it July, August, and then maybe not December, but the rest of the year I'm running it. You will have access to the group Thursday group Zooms. Again, we might change the date, but that's what it is now. For as long as I'm able to host them. I mean, for decades, I'm planning to do this. This is my thing. This is my main thing. And again, the many resource lists that are included that will be updated regularly. And then I mentioned that VIP group. I'm going to have this group. The interview series will start happening there. I'm not going to delete what I have in the free group right now. I'm going to put the participants in the first four cohorts. I haven't decided about the future ones. I also have experienced world schoolers in there who I've interviewed. And then we will have a small monthly membership for people who want to access that group, because we plan to have a monthly group Zoom just to connect and share stories. It's not for training. It's just for us to come, and then you can pick our brains. Okay. And then possibly a future retreat. Again, I don't want to do a summit. This is just a retreat for the people who have participated in my program. We just all want to meet up somewhere in the world. So we haven't decided when, but maybe in a year or two. I want to get enough people, Okay, so the pricing, the early bird, I do have a 10% discount up until 11 a.m. Pacific on January 22nd. So you could get 10% off. It will be $900 US then, and then $1,000 afterwards. I have given discounts in my earlier cohorts especially because I was building the course. Now the course is pretty much built. It's 100% there. I mean, last cohort, I was like, it's 98% there, but it's 100% there. I will, of course, always do bonus presentation, bonus training, and there's always new stuff coming, but it's pretty much there. So I know for some, it sounds like it's a lot, but considering what's in there, how much is in there, and that the access is forever, I hope you see that it's a really good value. I have other people telling me I should charge more. I don't feel comfortable with a giant inflated price. I just think 1,000, considering all the work I put into it and the value and the intellectual property and my brain being in there and what I do every week to, meet you live and all of that, I think it's a good value, especially since you can be a member for life. And I really believe if you follow my tips, what you learn in the course, you will save far more than $1,000 in the long run with all of my budget travel tips. If you want to travel that way, I have people join my course. They don't care about traveling on a budget. They just join my course because of the content and what they learn and the value. But I have had a bunch of single moms on a budget and just families on a budget take my course. And they have told me, multiple people have told me, wow, I didn't know this. We're going to save so much money. Charlotte said that your training actually saved me quite a bit of money. I learned how to get the cheapest flights, finding low cost of living places, how to make money go further. It also saved me making loads of costly mistakes. Thank you, Charlotte. So again, I plan to run the program 3 times a year, and you can participate in any time I do the program for no additional fee. And I have a bunch of testimonials. They're here and they're on my website, which I'll share in a bit. I won't go through them, but they're just really found valuable. It really helped them make a big shift in their thinking. And some of them are really well traveled. They've lived abroad. Some people have been to 30, 40 countries, and they still took my course and they still learned a lot. Yeah, so I really, really appreciate all these really nice things. Kara, I know you're watching right now. Thank you for your nice little testimonial. So yeah, it really makes me so happy. And I'm super happy when my participants launch, they're like I'm like a mama bird with my little birds flying out in the world. And then of course I have to follow their adventures. Right now I'm in the States right now. I'm doing something I'm not doing anything exciting. So I'm traveling vicariously through them. So it's really great for me to get the reports. They show up to my Thursday meetings and give us updates. So it's really nice to keep in touch and find out what they're doing and see their posts on Facebook and Instagram. And one of them is starting to blog. It's really nice to read your blog when I have time. So anyway, that's it. And let's talk about whether you should either self-learn how to do this or get help. So I'm a big fan of self-directed learning. I've been self-taught in many things, for myself, for my kids. There are many things I'm curious about, and I just really like putting in, I do like putting in the time to learn about certain topics, whether it's, reading blogs or watching YouTube videos or reading a book, articles, finding Facebook groups, and just diving deep into it. I do enjoy doing that. Other times I think it's preferable to pay for a course, to pay for an expert who's already knows how to do that, knows a lot about the topic, who can teach me A to Z about the topic just more efficiently, especially if I don't have the time to just, I don't know, do it myself. And, for example, learning how to start a business. I worked with an online business coach. I could have dig through websites and social media posts and learn as much as I can, but, I would have spent hundreds and hundreds of hours doing that. And instead I hired a business coach and she taught me, first you do this, then you do this, then you do this. It was so helpful. I mean, it was a lot of work, but it was really helpful. So again, you might be able to figure out all this stuff on your own, but I doubt it. I'm sorry. It's just a lot. It's a lot of information of the many, many years I've been doing this. And yes, there's many other world schoolers who have been traveling for years, but I've also done a ton of research and I also worked in alternative education. I know the education bit well. I think a lot of world schoolers, they figure it out and they do one way of education and then they teach you their one way, but I show you all the different ways. So again, you can figure out how to do things, or you can go to school from people and learn from people who came before you and all the things about, maybe you went to university, maybe you took a cooking class, maybe you took whatever, another online course. So think about the time and money that you invested to attend these programs. Maybe it was professional development classes or, hobby things. So think about if it was valuable or not. And then how to travel, like what is the best way to learn about? You can read some blogs, follow some travelers on Instagram. You could join all the Facebook groups and then scroll, and learn here and there little tidbits, maybe a lot of repeated stuff, a lot of the same questions. Read a lot of posts that have random subjects. Nothing's in order. Everything's randomly presented. And the info is coming to you sporadically. Is your brain good at absorbing all that information in that way and remembering it and categorizing it when you need that info? Or is it better to learn something in a logical step-by-step manner and have it kind of in an easy way to refer back to all the info? I mean, all the video info that I have and all the written info that I have. Or do you want to just wing it, grab a passport, throw some kids and clothes in a suitcase and just go for it? You can do that, but you may end up making lots of newbie mistakes. And especially if you're traveling with children, it's probably not a good situation to just wing it. You need to think about their safety and well-being as well as yours. What about if you travel long-term? How are your kids going to learn while they travel? How do you feel about pulling them out of school to start world schooling? Maybe you already homeschool or unschool, which is a great start. I have had families who were already doing that, take my course, and they still found lots of value, as world schooling is kind of like homeschooling, but on steroids. And there's just a lot more out there in this big, sometimes complex world of ours. You can join all the world school groups and dig around and ask lots of questions and figure things out on the fly. Maybe, again, read a blog or a book, get some information, or you can choose to take a more efficient route, learn from someone who's already done what you're aiming to do. You can take a course from someone who's been doing it for over 7 years, has worked in alternative education, as I mentioned, and chatted with hundreds of other families who are thriving in this lifestyle. And I often find out what they're doing wrong. I learn from their mistakes. And of course, I make mistakes too, but not so many nowadays, knock on wood. I used to when I was younger, but now I kind of know, like when I see someone miss their flight or not do this or this thing expired, and I'm like, why did you not know that? Like that's, to me, is secondary, right? So where can you learn the A to Z of how to live this lifestyle and live it well? I see a lot of people travel and do it in a way where they burn out and the kids are not happy, the spouse, they're bickering, I see that happen. So again, you can learn via the info in my weekly training videos that are organized by topic in a logical step-by-step fashion and available forever. You can participate in our weekly live group Zooms about, world schooling with me, kind of an expert now, and other people who are in the same position that you're in, who are about to launch into their family, into this lifestyle, and get your questions answered. And, you know, if you have an emergency, just send me a message on Messenger. You know, I'm not always online, but I try to get back to people as quickly as I can. So you can continue to come to the meetings for a year or for a decade. So which would you prepare to do? Let me know in the chat what you think is a better thing, self-learn or get help and take my course. So again, if you want to wing it, and I wish you the best. I wish you the best. Again, lots of planning lists. I'm a planner. I know other world schoolers who have like things are very into, not theory, they're more into like, how do I call it? They're just more into talking about how wonderful it is and espousing lots of really nice things. I do that too, but I give you practical stuff, lots of practical stuff. I'm very organized in that way. Okay, so let me know in the chat what you think. Oh gosh. Oh, and Laura, thank you, Laura. She said this with my right at the end of my last masterclass before the third cohort. She said, for those of you who are on the fence about Liz's course, do it. I know there are some fantastic Worldschooling Facebook groups out there with tons of free resources, but you will spend a lot of time scrolling through them and doing your own research. Liz has already curated the most important things to focus on, and she will connect you to some of the most valuable resources. Thank you, Laura. And then Sonia agreed and Sarah agreed. They kind of went on and on. So thank you to all of them. And again, the fourth cohort of my super comprehensive course is starting in 14 days on Monday, the 29th. The 10% early discount expires in 6 days. I really hope you guys will join in the fun and learning. We had the last 3 cohorts were just a blast. I will email you all the ones who registered for this masterclass, the enrollment page, and I use Stripe. I'm professional now. I use Stripe, not just PayPal, Stripe. And then if you're ready, you can go to my website, and there's a lot of information that is a repeat, a little bit about me, and then a bunch of testimonials. And honestly, I have not even had a chance to upload them. This is the week by week topic here. This is how to, well, register for this, but I will put this video here later when I download it. And then here, you can just click to register. Oh, before you do, click to schedule a meeting with me. We can have a quick 30-minute meeting. This is not working. Oh, here. So yeah, so tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific, I tried to open up even sometimes on Saturday. Okay. So, and then I have, again, some of you might be in Asia, Australia. So I don't know if this would work like in the evening, my time. I have some other meetings, and obviously I need to have dinner with my family and lunch and stuff. Okay. So you can book with me here, and then you can just put in your name, email. This is my terms and conditions. Is pretty standard, but do look through it. And then your next step is your credit card info, and it's a secure payment. Again, I have a little blurb here, but if anyone's surprised by the fee, so read through that. I do have this video that I posted last cohort that it's a 19-minute video. You can watch it double speed about the money situation and why it's worth it. I think my price was lower in this video because it was an earlier cohort. If you want to make monthly payments, reach out to me. That is possible. And what else? So yeah, and then yeah, and again, super grateful for people who have taken my course. It's been so much fun to help everyone. And yeah, just reach out to me if you want to, even if you're on the fence. You know, I'm not a hard salesperson. I don't want people who are not ready to take my course. In fact, I've met with people and they haven't figured out any of the income stuff. And I said, honey, you know, figure that out first and then come back when you're ready. So let me know if you want to meet with me one-on-one. And let's see, let me just finish up a little bit here. Yep, here's a Zoom link. And yeah, I really hope that I'll be able to help you make your family's amazing travel and world schooling dreams come true. Try not to delay. Again, I keep meeting people with grown kids who are like, I really regret not traveling with my kids, even for a year, doing a gap year, a family gap year. Kids grow up so fast. Now is the time to do it. Even if you have little kids, again, toddlers can be, if you have runners, it can be a challenge, but sometimes traveling with babies is actually easier. You have to take more stuff, but they sleep most of the time, right? I mean, as long as they had all their baby vaccinations and all that. We talk about vaccinations in my course. But yeah, if you want your kids to be global citizens, which is more important than ever for your kids and for you, to see the world. When you're on your deathbed, think about all the memories and the legacy that you're creating and just carpe diem. So wonderful. So I think I am pretty much done. Thank you for participating in my masterclass. I wish you guys the best. If you decide it's not a good fit for you, super happy to connect with you guys. Send me a friend request, keep in touch in the Facebook group. So thank you so much for joining. I am going to check for questions, but remember, it's not a vacation, it's a lifestyle. Try to be flexible and open-minded, be open to change, and be excited for this amazing big life change. I mean, this is what I help you do. I help you make this big life change in a nice way where hopefully you're not so stressed. And I really think a lot of you guys can do it. So thank you so much. I think that's the last one. And now let me check in the group to see if there's any last minute questions. The price for the course, this is a free masterclass, but the price for the course is per person or per married couple. Okay. But if your sister wants to take it, other relatives, then they will have to do it. So per household, I guess, per couple, right? Thank you, Adrienne and Jessica. Thanks for that. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. We're selected. Is there a selected time for those Monday meetings? Oh yeah. So the meetings, the kickoff, I'm planning to do, I will actually probably do a poll. Once you join, I'll put you in this private Facebook group and I'll do a poll to figure out where everyone is around the world. I'm thinking about doing it at 11 a.m. Pacific on Monday, having a kickoff meeting, a live kickoff meeting. And then I will post that, the training. Again, I'm not streaming it live any longer like I'm doing this one right now. It's done. So I have it chunked up on a website. So you'll get access to that. So every Monday you will get access to that week's training videos. Does that make sense? And then Tuesday or Wednesday in the free Facebook group for now, eventually in the VIP group, I will be interviewing another experienced Worldschool family or a service provider, or, I try to interview really interesting people. Eventually I'm going to turn all of them into a podcast. And then right now we have Thursday. So what I'm going to do, if I have enough participants for this cohort, I want to do 2 Thursday group Zooms. So one in the morning, my time, and one in the evening, so I can get both sides of the planet. And even people in the US, I'm in the States right now, they're working. So they might not be able to come to a 10 a.m. meeting, but they'll come to a 6 p.m. one, but I can't, I'm on the Pacific coast. So if I do it any later, then it's like past 9 o'clock. It's too late on the East Coast. It's really difficult. So I'm planning to do 2 a week. I record the videos, the group Zoom, and I put it in our private Facebook group so you can watch the replay if you missed it. Because sometimes we have really interesting conversations, people ask me questions and we talk about stuff. So I'm hoping if there's enough of you, if a bunch of you signing up, I'll do 2 of them every Thursday, Friday. We can decide on the date. So it's all gonna depend on that. Okay, so let me see if I have any questions. Oh, you guys, it's hard to know what questions you have for me because you guys are having an awesome conversation with each other. I love it. Yeah, if you have any last minute questions, just write Liz and then write your question. I'll stick around for a few more minutes. But yeah, so this, you're welcome. Thank you, Alana. This has been, again, I wouldn't say passion project. This is my ikigai. I mean, I'll post on the Facebook group a little bit more about what I mean about the ikigai, like figuring out what you're passionate about, what you're good at, what the world needs. And I want to encourage, I do think the world needs, there's demand for more world schoolers, right? And more information about doing. And then I've already done 3 cohorts. People have paid me for the information. And so many of them tell me that they're grateful doing that. So, and this is my main thing, how I support my family. I am doing that side project with the Worldschool Hub course. I'm just organizing it. I just wanted it to exist. So I reached out to people who have the content and I said, let me organize it for you. So I will be kind of the moderator, the MC, and then they will be doing the cohort, the content. And we're not going to do it live because we're spread throughout the world. We're going to have it recorded, but we'll have group Zooms if you're interested in that. So you can ask questions. So all right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. It was super to chat with you all, and I hope everyone has a good rest of the day. Ciao. Bye.